Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody from all around the world, hello and welcome to the hottest show in all of the global worship with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Make some noise. That's right, clap it up, get excited. Wherever you are, we are back with another jam-packed show for you today, covering the world of boxing and beyond with a whole host of topics to discuss. It's Ryan Garcia versus Barrios. We are barely 3 days away from this weekend for a phenomenal fight in a do-or-die situation for Ryan Garcia. Also, some very hefty words of confidence from Bill Haney talking about essentially with Shakur Stevenson. He is light work. This is a quote from the brother himself, Bill Haney. And Devin Haney may hold the same sentiment. Is this a real, deemed reality of thinking that we should all take seriously? Or is this Bill Haney blowing smoke? And is there something to actually be taken out of that type of statement with? Maybe they see something in the indomitable defense of Shakur Stevenson that the rest of the world does not see. They proved us wrong before. Do they have something to prove us wrong again? And so much more. Don't forget, we also have Virgil Ortiz and some news breaking with the lawsuits that's coming down the wire. Oh my gosh, you want to talk about some very potential, or rather, it's the opening for that fight and potentially going to get ready to happen with this, this hearing this week in regards to whether or not Ortiz is actually, or rather, Golden Boy did break their contract, and can they get this fight out? Apparently, they were offered upward to, 15? Was a $15 or $20 million fight for a 3-fight deal for Matchroom from Eddie Hurt. So it's a lot of drama right now. I'm going to tell you this, and we're going to have a whole bunch to discuss and talk about with you on the whole of it today. So please, without further ado, or rather before we even get started, my apologies, please leave a like on the video so we can go on and get the likes up on this stream. Keep on commenting your thoughts and opinions on this entire show. We want to hear from you in the chat. Please go ahead and hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable, as well as subscribe. Please subscribe. Come join the empire. Be a part of the hottest show in all of the globe right here on YouTube. And please be sure to share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together. All with you and your support, we can make it possible to reach the masses all around the globe, all with you helping out this show. And please, Cash App, PayPal, links down below, as well as super chats, super gifts. If you can support the channel, it will mean the world to me. Help to pay some bills and help to also be able to invest back into the show to make it better for you, the viewer and listener. But without further ado, we got a whole bunch of stuff to cover. We got people in the chat already, like with I just want the truth. Truth, what's going on with it? How you doing? Good to see you. Let me take something to drink real quick. Let me get something to drink. How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Al Booger, what's going on with you as well? Thank you for tuning in to the show. Absolutely. The Growth versus Grooves, Discern 2. Also, that fight is happening. Also, is that this weekend or is that this month? I can't remember when the date of that specific fight is. But if it is this weekend, I'm telling you, we have a whole host of topics and a whole host of fights we're going to be able to cover, as well as more stuff in the sports world as a whole. It's a lot of stuff to break down. So without further ado, hey, we got boxing to cover. We got sports to dive into. We got debates to have. And we got news to break. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to step into the ring. Yeah, buddy, come on. Come on. Ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of this show going underway on today, as we have for the first, again, it's a whole bunch of stuff, but I think we're going to start out with the most polarizing topic of the day. Haney calling Shakur light work or easy work. And again, as you can see with the topics of the day, Haney calling Shakur easy work. Garcia versus Barrios. My final prediction, as well as some other stuff involving the fight. Boots, or not that one, no, that ain't the one. Boots, Anderson, Ortiz, updates on their news and the whole litigation is happening this weekend. So as you see the rundown of the topics, we can ebb and flow wherever we need to go. Trust me, that's how this show works. But for the biggest news, right, the biggest polarizing addendum of the day is about Bill Haney talking about Shakur Stevenson and essentially say from his own words that Shakur is easy work. And I'll let him say it for yourself to start off this whole show as we dive into the world, if we can There we go. As we delve into the world of picture-in-picture right here, right now for the world to see. Let me, hold on. It ain't up there yet. Hold up. Wait a minute. Everything stop. Hold on a minute. Let's get this thing right. So someone's actually showing up like it's supposed to. While I'm getting it together, let me see who will be the upset on that card for Ryan Garcia. Now, y'all probably going to call me a hater. Don't be surprised if we see Richardson Hitchens lose to Oscar Duarte. Don't be surprised. For me, I would not be shocked at all if we do see the likes of Oscar Duarte, if we see Duarte potentially get the upset victory over Richardson Hitchens in that co-main event spectacle. Though it's supposed to be a fight that, while it is a very dangerous puncher, Hitchens should be able to outbox him and handle him. If he keeps talking like he's saying, I'm going to knock this brother out, I'm going to take the fight to Duarte, I'm going to go and I'm going to put a hurt on him. But stay away from that. Because this ain't Kambosos. And the punching power they think that he has is not what he thinks he's going to be able to bring. Or it's not the reality of what he thinks he's got to bring it to the ring. So you better be careful. And if you want to see an upset, that's the fight that I would say an upset would indeed happen. I'm saying, man, everybody is easy work. Everybody is a C-level fighter, according to Devin and Bill. I know, well, you're right, they do be downplaying a whole lot of people. Now, granted, they do be saying that people going to be easy work, and then they handle them relatively easy. Again, outside of, Lomachenko, which, again, was a very, very close fight. You could argue that he potentially lost. Brian Norman Jr., on the other hand, is the other end of the spectrum. Brother went and said, I'm going to call you out. This brother ain't that good. And then he showed, he wasn't that good. So it's been a ebb and flow of, like, some people, they've been able to step up and say, they ain't on my level. Progress, perfect example. He would say, to Progress, you ain't like that. And I was saying that Progress was indeed a dangerous puncher at 140. And he was. Young champion, very strong, very much a physical dominant fighter. Or physically dominant fighter, to be able to go and potentially hinder the likes of Devin Haney to do what he wants to do. We see Devin Haney knock him down twice and go and take the fight to him and completely dominate him. So it's been like, for the majority of the time, they've been able to back up that stint or that rhetoric of this guy ain't all that. But with Shakur, is that really a good thing to have? Or is there some flaws in that thought process? Let me see. I give Oscar a good chance to beat Africa. 55-45 leading to Hitchens. I want to say, it's more like, it's closer to 50-50 than a lot of people are giving it credit for. And it's strictly because, again, I've said this before, Hitchens is not my favorite fighter. Understandable. Hitchens is also, I believe he's got his britches too big from that fight with Kambosos, because I'm telling you right now, everybody from this point on is not going to be, with all due respect to Kambosos, on the level of Kambosos as a fighter that you should be able to handle and work with. Even Oscar Duarte got Ryan Garcia even said he got Oscar Duarte had gotten his respect because of the fact that brother's strong. That brother can punch. That brother is not an easy out. More and even though he's a plotter, even though he's a guy that moves forward, he is a man who he can go. He can really go. And he can put it on. Mind you, one of the biggest instances of us seeing Hitchens against a power puncher, I can't remember if it was Lemos or if it was somebody else, but the brother was getting ragdogged around. He won the fight, but we saw that brother rock 3 or 4 times in that fight against a real heavy hitter, the name of which elusive. But I know the fight I'm talking about, because if I had it in front of me, I could show you. There were about 4 times we saw Hitchens get rocked, even with that slick boxing skill that we've said he has. No, I'm not sure. Okay, so what's Lima? Okay, so what's Lamont? Excuse me. Thank you, True, for letting me know. I knew I was right. I just had to figure it out. But so it was Lamont or Limos. I forget to say his name. I believe it's I'm gonna say Lamont. Hopefully he's right. But this is a kryptonite. He could take and walk through and handle the likes of Kambosos, but he can't do that against Duarte. Nor is his boxing, let me phrase that, his boxing is gonna have to be the main X's and O's to win this fight. He does not want to get into a fight, let alone if his boxing fails in some situation. Well, all of a sudden you can't keep that power off you. If you get somebody, hey, well, look, perfect example, Nakatani. But who is supposed to be incredibly strong, not comparing their skill level, but in reference to you going up against somebody who seems very much rudimentary. And all the other tricks of the trade just ain't working. He's walking through them, and inevitably he closes the gap. Now, my gosh, you got to brawl it out with him. And even when the best in the world had trouble against somebody who they can just absorb punishment. Now, we know Duarte got knocked out, or not, I believe was knocked out by Ryan Garcia. At minimum, got knocked down. And got hurt bad. No, he did get stopped by Ryan Garcia. We know he's susceptible, but it's to a certain level of power. Up until that point, I don't believe he had gotten knocked down. Or if he had, it was only against somebody else who was an elite puncher. Outside of that, Hitchens better be careful. Better be careful, because if he ain't, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be very, very bad. But again, True, thank you for the added help to make sure I got what I got in reference to the names on said list. But now let's actually jump into the world of picture-in-picture. Play the clip of Bill Haney talking about the likes of Shakur Stevenson and essentially telling the world, hey, this brother ain't nothing but light work, easy work to him.
You, Brian Norman was going to be easy. You said.
Also, viewer discretion advised. If anything is said, my apologies. Trying to be clean. Sponsors, come at me. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Easy? I said easy. Mm-hmm. Right? Was it easy? Didn't I say it was going to be easy? Yeah. Easy.
But I'm saying what?
I said Shakur is easy work for Devin. So I'm saying this.
We just jumped from that fight to this fight, but we talking about it, so go ahead.
How?
Yeah.
You don't see it?
No.
For real? For real, you don't see it?
I think that's a competitive fight for both of them.
How?
Just from what I've seen. Dev style, Dev's temperament, Shakur's style, Shakur's temperament. But help me understand.
Listen, that's an easier fight than Lomachenko.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Well, because you don't know where all the tools in the Home Depot warehouse is that we have. It's a whole lot of tools. Now, you know a few of them. It's a whole lot of in there, dog. And because I don't want to give away too much, right? I don't want to give away too much because it could be a possible fight next. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really want to say how, right?
We'll get back to this fight then, Saturday.
Yeah.
How? You said T.O., if he
pressing.
I've never seen Shakur as a professional walk down, pump, and physically unable to get somebody off of him. Have you seen it?
But before I play that second half of the clip, because it is going to mean something. It's going to mean something. Let's address the starter. I'm going to say the second half because he talked again. This was recorded before the fight with Jimmy Lopez. They just put out the interview on Andre Ward's show, all the smoke fight with Andre Ward and Norman Ward Jones Jr. You know the sentiment. But either way, I'm going to play the second half later because it is going to be important with what he says is going to happen to T.O. versus what actually happened to T.O., which kind of gives us a little bit of sentiment of, you might be in over your head if you're talking about you're going to be able to do this to Shakur, and Shakur did that to the brother that you said wasn't going to be able to do nothing with him. Oh my gosh, why you might be in some trouble. But real quick, back to, before, again, we'll play the second half of that clip later because it's going to be important. But Devin Haney, we're out of Bill Haney, incredibly adamant that his son is going to be able to work the floor with Shakur in any way that he feels like it. Saying, and again, and I quote, this fight is easier than versus Lomachenko. And I just don't understand how that's possible. Now, we've seen Bill Haney blow smoke. We've seen Haney do all this stuff under the sun in regards to hyping up the fight, hyping up the grandeur of it, everything involved. He had a hit list that he's got that we can also play later on in the show, involving all 10 people that he now wants to have his son fight against and all that stuff. All well and good. I truly believe that Bill Haney, in this situation, is in fact delusional. Now, I've said that he is very eccentric. I've said that he is incredibly out there. He's a phenomenal promoter. He wants to put his son in the best position to be one of the biggest stars in the sport. He wants to guide his son to championships. He doesn't duck smoke again because they've been taking on every fight. However, they don't. How do we say this? There's still a realm of propensity of reality for even of the other fights that he's had on his dossier. This one, I truly believe that he does think that Shakur ain't going to be all that. Genuine. And at the same breath, I think he's absolutely lost his mind if he thinks that this fight is going to be easier than the likes of a Shakur Stevenson going up against you. Mind you, they've already sparred together, and we've seen that sparring footage before. And I've been the first to say, I don't take sparring footage as Bible as every single time we go out and talk about these fights. Because again, what happens? People grow, people change, people move. Situations around the gym, you could have been overtrained, you could have been overworked. This could have been your last fight of the day, so you weren't at your. There's a bunch of different things that can happen. Understandable. With that being said, though, with what we saw in that fight, we've only seen Shakur Stevenson from winning that brief 30-second to a minute sparring footage, assuming that's how the rest of the fight went. He's only gotten better from there. He's only improved from there. He's only grown exponentially to the point that he has lapped the league in the standpoint of the boxing world to be one of the 4 best in the nation. No, in the globe. Excuse me, in my opinion. You could argue in the States, here in America, he might be the best in the world for us in the United States. Genuinely better than anybody else from here, except for baby David Benavidez. If you want to talk about just status and ability, but even in globally, Shakur's ranked higher. So you could argue he's the best American fighter that we got globally, 4th best in the world, straight up. And it's clear cut for most everybody to see. This man is somebody who's above Devin Haney right now. And he's a lower weight class. If he came up to him, I think it would be a great fight. I think it would be a fight that Shakur would win. But Devin Haney's talking as if, it's going to be whatever. Devin Haney is delusional in this situation. Genuinely. Yes, he normally talks of a big fight. Yes, he normally goes through and he's trying to get the people invested. However, this one instance, he actually believes it. And I'm telling you right now, what you think you see in Shakur, you don't. This ain't going to be like that. Because we have to be real. Shakur's not easy work for anybody. If anything, Shakur could be the worst thing for the likes of Devin Haney due to the fact, like Andre Ward brought up, the styles and temperaments are similar. But the issue is, even though they're similar, one person is more patient than the other when both of them excel in being patient. And that's Shakur. Again, the waiting game that both of them play of react and respond. Again, react and respond. They react because you're doing something first. Every time. It's not going to be. Even with me saying earlier in this year that if they fought against each other, Shakur Stevenson would be the guy to go through and be the aggressor. I guarantee you right now, it's going to be still a counter fest because of the fact that Devin Haney, even when he gets pressure, gets over anxious, or rather gets really looking for, it's coming, counter jab, right hand, clinch, move. And what of the same routine, like we saw against Brian, like we saw in Brian Number Jr., like we've seen in other instances of him fighting. The game of guiding through the minefield, Shakur's better. The game of punch selection, even in a situation where everybody ain't throwing much, which again is what Shakur can excel in, he's better than. The game of catching what you can throw, even if it's in a minimalist environment, Shakur's better at it. Everything that we would want to see Devin Haney have the success of against this brother. You're going up against a better version of the very style that you fight, who is also multi-dimensional, not just with the jab, but with everything in his arsenal. This is not an easy fight. If anything, this is a fight that Devin Haney might have to unlock something new about himself if he does ever get in the ring with him. Yes, he's talking a big game. Yes, he's just trying to build up the fight. We understand. But again, he does believe it. And I'm telling you right now, him saying it's easier than Lomachenko, both face lie. If anything, it's going to be harder because of the fact that you won't be able to do what you did against Lomachenko that helped to potentially eke out a victory, which was go downstairs to the body as relentlessly, which is being able to fight like the bigger man and brawl on the inside with somebody. And even still, you should be able to dominate Lomachenko on the inside when he did close the gap because of your size. And he was more than keeping up with you. He was winning the second half of the fight. And you couldn't stand that pressure. Now you go up against somebody who's an even more accurate puncher, who is as big, was similar in size to you. Arguably has sharper hands, has a reach and a punch selection that can go and outclass you. It can, and it has. This ain't an easy fight. This ain't easy work. He's delusional. If this was easy work, trust me, they wouldn't be talking about it. That's the thing. If this was easy work, this fight wouldn't even be on the radar. Then we would be looking at this fight as if we were saying Devin Haney versus Richard the Hitchens. And nobody wouldn't see that fight. Why? Because that's not even a contest. No offense to Hitchens, he's not even on that level. He's not even close to the top 10. He's arguably not even the best in his own division. He's not the best in his own division. This is a delusional mindset. The fact that he said that this is easy work to fight against Shakur is absolutely ridiculous. And this is going to be a fight if it does ever happen. If there was any fight that was going to make him look like a fool from the standpoint of, oh, you about to eat your words, like you almost had your words eaten when you went up against Ryan Garcia. Again, PEDs happened. Fight got nixed. Understandable. But that same reality can come crashing back down again. This time won't be because you got beat up to Kingdom Come, but it's because you got outboxed in a way that you were outclassed, that to the point that you don't seem like you belong. It sounds crazy that can happen, but I'm telling you, it can happen. Because he's that good. Shakur's that good. He's better than Devin Haney. He, as a boxer, he's better than Devin Haney, at least in my opinion. But again, that's just my thoughts on that. And again, there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more to it, but again, we still want to make sure we can move on and have the show continuing on, because we still have so much more to discuss in the world of boxing, like with Garcia versus Barrios, not just with this fight prediction, but with the whole card as a whole. There's a whole plethora of options to discuss and enjoy in regards to what is going to go down on this Saturday between Ryan Garcia and Mario Barrios, with Gary Russell Jr. or Gary Antoine Russell versus Andy Hiroka, with Richardson Hitchens versus Oscar Duarte. It's gonna be, I'll be honest with you, this is a very exciting card from the standpoint of it's nearly an all 140-pound war, almost top to bottom, or at least with the majority of the biggest fights when people are at or just leaving the division. So it's a good cauldron of similarity that are all potentially going to give us phenomenal fights outright. Now, when it comes to Duarte versus Hitchens, I got Duarte getting it upset on Richardson Hitchens. If I'm wrong, hey, I'm wrong, and Hitchens is going to show me why exactly he should deserve the respect of being one of the better pure technique boxers that we have in the game. And if that happens, great. So be it. But I got Duarte getting upset. If we talking about Russell versus Hiroka, two people that are devastatingly powerful punchers. I believe Gary Russell 18-1, 17 KOs. Andy Hiroka 24-0 with 17 KOs on his resume. One's got more experience. One's got seemingly as much, if not more, power in terms of Gary Antoine Russell, a near 100% knockout ratio. We're talking about two people that we said yesterday Tuesday, was going to be one of the biggest fights to take the day and take the world, or try to take the night by storm and potentially be fighting tonight. I do believe that we're going to see Gary Russell Jr. beat Andy Hiroka. I do. I think we're going to say, and most likely we might see a knockout strictly because both of them are going to be guns blazing going at each other. And if we're talking about the fervor of technical destruction, the sharper swords that swing across the ring, I think Gary Russell's got the sharper tools, the sharper etiquette, the sharper, more refined weapons of destruction to go and take out Hiroka. Because again, Hiroka, he's a volume puncher. The brother, somewhat they punch a little bit similar from the standpoint of, you see, it's a lot of speed and it doesn't look like they put a bunch of torque in their shots, but it lands heavy and it lands often. But Russell, I think also defensively, is a little bit better, not even a little, it's better to be able to go and punch, roll, keep the attack up, keep himself safe. Now, if he gets caught with a shot, who knows what's going to happen? Hey, oh my gosh, everything could go out the window. All of a sudden, we can see Andy Hiroka become a champion and put the word on notice. Hey, but I'm arrived, I'm here, and I'm a dog. Oh boy, but if it doesn't happen, I think we're going to see Gary Russell take this victory. I think we're going to see him get a knockout. I do. In a very good fight. I do hope, and I dare say, because I love watching Andy Hiroka, if there was a draw, I would not be mad. I would be mad, because I would love a draw that was a very intense war, because I want Andy Hiroka to be a more well-known name, so that at the 140-pound division, he's got a lot more opportunities, because he can be a very exciting fighter. And if he did get this to the point where all of a sudden, hey, I'm going toe-to-toe with one of the baddest brothers at 140, and being able to not just take his shots, but able to give stuff back against him, my gosh, all of a sudden, calls are calling, matches get made, and we get even more intriguing dynamics at the division. I would love it. But if I got to pick it just straight up unbiased, yeah, I think Gary Russell's going to take the victory. I really do. I truly do. Also, we got people in the chat, like with Buck Farber. What's going on, Buck? Thank you for tuning into the show. So happy that you're here with us on today. Hopefully, everybody who's tuned in, leave a like on the video, leave a like on the stream. We're talking about a whole bunch of stuff. We're talking about the final predictions for Barrios and Garcia, the bigger events on the card. We're talking about Devin Haney, or rather Bill Haney, calling Shakur Stevenson light work, easy work, saying that he'll be able to handle them with no problem, and there's some tricks of the trade that they see that Shakur is going to be essentially be struck down by when they ever fight against each other. That's what he said, not me. We talking about whether that's delusion or whether that's reality, and we also going to delve into later on in the show what exactly he may see in the flaws of Shakur, which, in all honesty, full disclosure, I don't see it. I don't know what he could expose. Maybe his length and speed may be the thing, just to say, hey, he likes to go and counter. We're going to give him nothing to counter because we're going to jab and we're going to be way on the outside. Maybe outside of that, I'm not exactly sure what exactly they would see, but I would love to hear your thoughts as well. I mean, I spoke to Bomac. We have an interview scheduled on your channel on March 22nd. Well, hey, look, hold on now. Wait a minute. If that's the case, that's news to me. That's news to me. Hey, I got an email. I got an email on my channel. You can read, you can respond to that if this is indeed true. And hey, if that's the case, we'll make some accommodations for you. We might have to do it via over. Well, no, if I need to fly out, I might be able to fly out. You know, I'll do what I gotta do. Especially for Bud Crawford. My gosh, absolutely. Let me see. I got Barrios with a 10th round KO. Oh, so you got the upset. Oh, wait a minute now. Oh, wait a minute. You got the upset for Ryan Garcia getting beat by Barrios by KO. That's very interesting. Now, when we talk about this fight, and again, we can kind of switch gears a little bit and talk about the main event. When we're talking about this fight with Barrios and Garcia, we had to look at this from the perspective that we've heard, or at least I've heard, from the likes of Teddy Atlas. He was saying, as well as Keyshawn Davis, he also brought this up as well, the one thing about Devin Haney, he is a fighter who, if he is focused, he's a nightmare. If he's not focused, all of a sudden stuff can go out of hand real quick and in a hurry. And the issue is, when it comes to Ryan Garcia, we just don't know where the focus may lie. And now it sounds like a cop-out answer. It's not. The biggest thing about, because we've broken down this fight on this show. What have we said multiple times before? But look, Ryan Garcia should win this fight. This is the first big real full-blown world championship opportunity Ryan Garcia has had in his career. Not an interim title, not a regional belt, an actual world championship for the WBC welterweight title. Great. He's going up against somebody who's been defending this belt multiple times before and has been a fixture, regardless of how much you may say he is not a great fighter or a great champion. He's been in or at the championship picture for a number of years, consistently. And that's the thing, consistency. The consistency of Barrios is one of the biggest things that has everybody saying, my gosh, we don't know what Ryan Garcia is going to be able to do. And it's because Ryan Garcia is a fighter. We don't know who he is on a night-to-night basis. He's got the capacity. At my best, I can beat most anybody in the world. At my best, if I'm on it, brother, I can fight. I've had multiple people tell me, I can fight. I'm 6-6. Well, I'm 3-3 in a 6-round affair when it comes to Devin Haney. I've been able to, the brother who was a dominant amateur, I've been able to box with him and beat him on 3 occasions. Tank's gotten my respect because he knows I can hit and he knows I can actually do some damage. I've been able to, I've been able to compete and eclipse many people who are supposed to be technically better than me. Because I got some real skill. The problem is that skill isn't backed by the discipline necessary. It's not. And we see the physique, we see the build, we see all the pomp and circumstances of his body. We love it. We loved it. It looks like there's going to be something of note. But the consistency is still an unknown. When we talk about Barrios, it's not the case. Because we don't know what Ryan we're going to get, I don't care how much we may think he should be able to win this fight or that he should be able to take this victory or that the training with David Benavidez should be able to unlock the best attributes of Ryan Garcia, with Ryan Garcia, again, being one of the fastest punchers in the world. You train against a fighter in Devin Haney, or you train with a fighter in David Benavidez, who his whole game plan, or biggest part of it, is speed. All of a sudden, you should be an even more destructive weapon. You should. But will that newfound skill be backed by a discipline that can maximize? And I just don't know. And that's why Barrios has such a big chance to win. Because Barrios is a fighter, you know what you're getting. And you know how he will adapt, or how he will attempt to adapt if he gets faced with some real adversity. And he's done it. And you know where his heart is going to be. He even said himself in an interview talking about this fight, I'm going to show Ryan Garcia what real heart is about. I'm going to test his heart. I'm going to test his will. I'm going to test what he's got inside, and I'm going to show him there's still a level to this you ain't at yet. Mario Barrios' words. This is why this fight is so intense. Because on paper, yes, I'm fully with you. Ryan Garcia should beat Barrios. And I believe he's going to beat him. I do. But because I don't know that unknown factor of the discipline and consistency, the volatility of Ryan Garcia has made him an untrustable asset for the public eye. Inside the ring. I'm not even getting into the outside ring. Inside the ring stuff. I just don't know. And that's why I'm scared for this fight. Because this fight is a do or die situation for Barrios, or for Garcia. This fight is indeed, like it says in the title, it is do or die for Ryan Garcia. There is no more net to catch you. I understand he said after this fight he's going to be a free agent going out of De La Hoya. It's his last fight under his contract. But if he loses in his last fight as a free agent, he's still going to get paid, but ain't going to be as much. His value's still going to be up there, but ain't going to be as much. Everything about Ryan Garcia that should make him one of the hottest commodities in the world is going to be very much diluted in regards to this fight and subsequently afterwards, because there is no trust in him from the fans and from the business perspective, and then from the fighter himself. We can't say that he's young anymore. He's still young, yes, but we can't say that he's still got room to grow, or rather that he's still got. Well, hold on. Let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase it. We can't say he's a prospect that he's going to be something great and he's got time to grow and adapt while he still does have time. And yes, in the grander scheme, he is still young. That window is not as big as it used to be. And the leeway for what Ryan Garcia is not the same anymore. It's not, because now we are at a situation, it is do or die. You have to, especially with how everybody else around you has already lapped you in accomplishments and assets for their career. You are now, you got to get this done just to keep pace. Just to keep pace. And that's not a position where you want to be. Not saying it's a race against anybody, but there is a barometer of standard that we expected all those, Teofimo Lopez, Tank Davis, Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, that sector for the four modern day kings of boxing, which they were crowned when they came into the sport. Hot prospects with a whole lot of following. Everybody wanted to see what they were going to do. Most of them accomplished something, but it wasn't, in fact, Ryan Garcia. Though he took on tests, don't get me wrong. He ain't ducked nobody. But if you look, scale back the picture, all of a sudden he looks underwhelming. Very much needing not just a victory, but he needs a statement under his belt. And it's got to be now. It could have been Devin Haney, but again, PEDs, understandable. Beyond that, since then, lost to Roller Romero, injuries, been out for a year, looking to retool yet again, one more time. But will he be driven? I just don't know. Again, I have him winning. I have him knocking out Mario Barrios. I think it will happen in round 9. Barrios is incredibly tough. It could happen actually early. It could happen in round 6. I'm not going to lie. But that is if the best of Ryan Garcia is there. Because we don't know. It's hard to trust it. It really is hard to trust it. Let me see, Trey Bacon. What's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Let me see what you got to say on today. Towel stoppage or body shot. It might be. Could he knock him out to the body? Could he? Well, no, he could knock him out to the body with a liver shot. Yeah, it could happen. It could definitely happen. Barrios did better against Tank than Ryan did against Tank. I'm going off of that as well. That's a good statement. That is a good. Well, that brings. Well, no, you're right. He did. He absolutely did. Now, granted, he had a bigger advantage because he's 6'1" against 5'5", I think 5'5" or 5'7". But either way, no, not 5'7". He's 5'4", 5'5". Either way, he did do better, absolutely. But that also speaks to the one big question surrounding this fight. The one big statement surrounding this fight. Though the raw talent of Garcia has enough juice to push him over the top of even some of the most skilled fighters, he is not the most skilled fighter. He's not. He's adapted and garnered some new tools, but he's not the most skilled fighter. Barrios is a better skillful fighter than Ryan Garcia. He is. He's a better skillful fighter. He has more rooted fundamentals. He has better technique surrounding the assets of his game. That's the truth. Though we can say that Ryan Garcia can be as good or better than him, I think that Barrios has more skills, quote unquote, or rather more refinement. That's a better way to say it. And that's what it's going to come down to. If we're going to see, when I say do or die, this is more than just a statement of volatility. We're going to find out whether or not Ryan Garcia, what his skill set really is. Because this is the buddy who, again, he took on Tank, who gave him trouble, and you don't have the same issues as Tank going into this fight with Barrios. And you should be able to do things in a way that even the likes of Manny Pacquiao wasn't able to do against Barrios due to the fact that Pacquiao was fighting like he's always had to do it his entire career against the height, the physical disadvantage of length and reach. There's always been a thing that's been a quote-unquote problem in his career, but it's more than just an obstacle that he's able to be so good at, he's able to overcome. But you have the speed without the negating size that made that fight so much of a, oh my gosh, at 46 years old, can Pacquiao do it? Or, oh my gosh, hey, this could be a really dangerous fight for the likes of Tank Davis. You don't have that issue. And you still have everything that make them great at their size, which is the speed, which is the power, and the reaction time. You should be able to handle your business and get Barrios out of it. You should. But should and will is two different things. We just don't know. We just don't know. Also, Burr, what's going on with you? How you doing, Burr? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. And let me see, non-facts, even though I want Barrios to win, Ryan might knock him out. You have to see, I agree. Absolutely. I'm picking Barrios, Al Booker. Also, Al Booker, if I didn't say hi to you already, how you doing? Appreciate you tuning into the show. So happy that you're here with us on today. I'm picking Barrios. People overestimate how good Ryan actually is. Not that Barrios is any kind of dominant champion, but he's been counted out, and he has every single time Barrios has gone up against almost any champion or even any contender. He's been counted out as, we just don't know. Again, he's not that great. He's one of the worst champions in the division. He's the easiest champion to face. Everybody wants to go at Barrios to go on and take him out. The brother is a good fighter. This is with me saying that I said that he was the easiest champion to face at 147. This is with me saying that. This is with me saying that Pacquiao picking to fight against Barrios was a smart move because Barrios was a fighter that he could beat. This is with me saying that. He still is a good fighter that if you are not careful, you can get hurt and you can get stopped. You can get put out. You can even get outboxed. You can't, because he can have a second win. He's got power that carries beyond rounds. He knows how to use length. He knows if the fight gets tough, I will dig deep and we will go to war. And you ain't got to worry about me quitting. If you don't tag me and put me down, brother, I'm still going to come to get you. And you're going to have to deal with when you start waning, I'm still going up in elevation. It's going to be a problem. It can be a problem. It has been a problem. This is it's a great dichotomy of talent because it is defined discipline versus reckless talent. That's what it is. And I say reckless because, again, we are so across the spectrum about what the world we're going to see with Ryan Garcia in this fight. If he gets caught and hurt again, is he going to get gunshot again? Is his hand fully healed from the Rolly Romero fight? Is the mental ineptitude to be able to still commit to throwing the punches that you need to throw if you do get caught and hurt again, is that still there? We thought he had it when he fought against the likes of Campbell and got knocked down and then got up and then took the fight to Campbell and hurt him to the body and willed his way into a knockout. We see that. We know that. But at the same time, we've also seen him regress. We just don't know. We just don't know. And that's the scary part about Ryan Garcia. We don't know. What is it that we can hang our hat on with Ryan Garcia from a stability standpoint? He's an entertaining fighter. He is able to be at the peak. We still know that, but I just don't want him to be a what-if story. Like I've said multiple times. We don't want it to be a what if. What if he goes down this road of every big fight he loses, or even fights that he shouldn't have lost, he's now losing? Well, maybe we overestimated him. Maybe the one-time thing wasn't even a one-time thing. And the star power then goes away. And now we've lost somebody that can help carry this sport beyond just a couple years. Not saying that it's going to die outright without him, but the fact that he exists as an opportune threat makes everybody look at him in a way that, he's a polarizing figure. He is a very valuable asset to the story of this sport and where it can go. He is the Oscar De La Hoya of our time from the standpoint of a popularity where everybody wants to see him. A power with speed combination or rather a speed and power combination in his ability that makes him exciting to watch. A polarizing figure that can come through. He's done a lot of stuff, good and bad, good gosh, that has everybody always talking. From the looks to the knockouts to the highlights to the rhetoric, he can talk a good game. He can talk you out of your game. He can make a whole event about himself. He can start feuds willy-nilly. He doesn't duck people. He's a very great person to have in this sport when he's at the top, or at least when he's always in the conversation. We don't want that to fail strictly because we know what that can do for the sport. Now we hope certain things get better. We don't want him out of the picture. But my gosh, man, he's going to do it to himself. If he doesn't get this done, I want you to understand what a loss to Mario Barrios would do. Unlike with Manny Pacquiao, which if he lost to Barrios, okay, you're 46. You've retired for 6 years. We understand. Fine. You tried. The fact that he was even competitive is a testament to how great you are, and even more impressive how good you were in your prime. One of the 10 greatest fighters I've ever seen is Manny Pacquiao. He's on my list, absolutely. However, that's understandable. But at the rate, or at the level that Ryan Garcia is, this is one of those, how do we say, this is one of those non-negotiable type of wins that you need to have. Barrios isn't just a gatekeeper. He is a bigger barometer for the notion that you, even against Devin Haney, you against Shakur, you against anybody of real note, has the value to have us, or rather has the ability to make that type of fight worth our time. That is the way how you handle Barrios gives us at least a baseline of your competitive fervor. I'm not saying it's going to tell the whole story, but at least your competitive nature going up against these elites that you're trying to get back to the top of. Like a Devin Haney, hopefully clean. Like a Shakur Stevenson, again, hopefully clean. Understand, but no drugs this time. That's what this fight means. If you lose against Barrios, well, should we give you any time of day to go up against those other big-time stars? I would say no, and most of you would also say that as well. That's not a knock. That's not disrespectful to Barrios. That's not disrespectful to Ryan Garcia. That's the truth of the matter. That's what Barrios is. That's what Ryan Garcia is. If you can't beat Barrios, you have no shot at anybody that we've been saying we want to see you in the ring with. Most likely. And your perceived nature of competitive fire against these other dominant figures, all of whom would have been able to do what they needed to do against him in terms of against Barrios. That's going to be lackluster, to say the least. It'll be an indictment that people will remember. And they'll be like, why? Well, moving on. And we don't want that, but that's what can happen. That's why this fight is so indeed important. But yet again, I still want to hear from you all as to everything involving your thoughts and opinions on the fight itself and everything involving boxing as a whole. There was something else I wanted to cover in the world of this. How do we say this? Where's it? Oh, yeah. No, not that. No. It wasn't that. It was. What was it? What's the word? I had a clip I wanted to play, but I can't find it. You know what? We'll talk about it later. We'll move on. We will move on. We'll move on. And we'll go into the third topic of this show as we're trying to make sure we keep this thing easy going and easy flowing. And that will be the other conversation of the day, which is some breaking news involving the world of a very prominent fight in Boots Ennis and Ortiz. Hey, we got some updates, y'all. We got some updates in the world of the saga of Ortiz. The Ennis-Ortiz drama continues to pick up as we now have new confirming litigation involving what's going to happen in the world of essentially the courtroom when it comes to Ortiz versus the Court of Appeals. Now, I'll even let Chris Mannix tell you all of this as we went and did essentially all this broke, 2 days ago. later 2 days ago after our show when we couldn't necessarily talk about it up until today, but let me read you right now, right, let you read along to see what it was going on. So if you didn't know, Ortiz is going to court with Oscar De La Hoya. Absolutely. Now, with that being the case, in lieu of this whole situation going about, Ortiz has filed in opposition to the temporary restraining order of Golden Boy. Essentially, Golden Boy doesn't want to fight. Ortiz, in the midst of this lawsuit, saying, hey, get me out of this restraining order so that I can actually fight and make this Boots fight happen. Now I'll let Chris Mannix read to you, or I'll let Chris Mannix's words and reporting read exactly what's going on. So, as you can see, Virgil Ortiz has filed in opposition to the temporary restraining order Golden Boy received to block Ortiz from signing the Jerron Boots in his fight. According to the copy of public record reviewed by SI, I believe the network that Chris Mannix is working for, Ortiz is seeking to dissolve the temporary restraining order to deny Golden Boy Promotions further relief. Essentially, I believe if I'm reading this correctly, essentially saying to make it so that they can't just hold him hostage while this whole stuff is going on and not let him sign the fight and just hold him in his place. They're trying to get it out so he can go and make this fight happen and make some money. So, in the legal filings, Ortiz says in December, his manager, Rick Miragon, has presented, in the legal filings, Ortiz says in December, his manager, Rick Miragon, was presented with an offer to fight Ennis and was told that if Ortiz did not agree to the fight, he would be benched and not presented with any other opportunity. Ortiz's team attests that Ortiz's promotional agreement states that Ortiz must be presented with 3 potential opponents for any bout, and he was not. So essentially, when you were offered a Boots fight, it was supposed to be that we get 3 other fights that we can choose from, but none of that was given. It was only a direct ultimatum. Either you sign Boots or you don't do nothing at all, and that's why we are where we are. Then continuing, the filing then says Ortiz was offered a 3-fight deal from Matchroom, which included an April 18th fight against Ennis that guaranteed Ortiz $12 million and could have been worth up to $20 million. Good gosh, my word. Oh, Lord. Ortiz was also offered a deal by another promoter that would have guaranteed him $16 million plus upside based on ticket and pay-per-view sales for the bout. So now, if I'm reading this correctly, during this whole situation and him being sidelined by Golden Boy Promotions, not allowed to sign anything, he's gotten offers that would have been life-changing money as well as third-party offers from another source of promoter to also have a fight for life-changing money with bouts and a bunch of other incentives that he wasn't able to do because Golden Boy is holding him hostage and not letting him sign with anything of any note. And that's the problem of the day. And so what they're having is a hearing, I believe, on Friday, tomorrow, which is going to say, if we get this restraining order lifted from Golden Boy on Ortiz, if I'm reading this correctly, he can then go and sign with any of these deals that he's been offered to not just get the fight with Boots, but also do multi-fight deals with other people, as well as making it so that his fight or his contract, I believe, is null and void with Golden Boy, if I'm reading that correctly. Either way, this is a big development, and we also had to talk about that third potential offer of who that is. But anyway, $12 million baseline and potentially $20 million on the deal as a whole that he wasn't able to get signed from Matchroom. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Mind you, I believe this is during the whole conversation when Ortiz, without counseling of Ortiz and Rick Miragon, went on record saying, hey, we want a 65-45 split or something along those lines and take it or leave it within the week. And they're like, whoa, we ain't trying to, hold on now, you got too much dip on your chip. We still want to get these negotiations going, apparently because this is the type of money that was on the table for the likes of Ortiz to be able to sign. My gosh, but let me see. Now I'm convinced that now I'm convinced that it's Ortiz. Now I'm convinced that it's Virgil and his management team that's ducking. So, now, again, I'm trying to make sure I'm reading this all correctly. I think what this is saying isn't that Ortiz is ducking. It's that this was the money that was denied from Oscar De La Hoya to be able to make the fight. Ortiz is doing this, trying to get out of this temporary restraining order to be able to sign the fight with Jaron Boots Ennis, if I'm reading this correctly. Currently, with this whole litigation thing, and again, with the apparently breach of agreement, especially with the fights that were offered, when it's supposed to be you get 3 fights and you weren't offered the other 3. And so it's like, you ain't let me do what I need to do. Let me go and sign with the other people. I'm trying to make sure I'm reading this correctly. I believe that it is trying to say, or rather that the lawsuit's saying, Ortiz wants to make this fight. Ortiz is being hindered by De La Hoya because he's being benched and not being able to fight to sign with the matchroom deal and all the other stuff. On top of them having a breach of contract with the whole, not having a contract with the zone, and all the other things that we covered earlier in this whole lawsuit saga, they want the fight. They want to have the fight. And I believe that, in fact, I think there was a tweet that also summed up this whole situation better than I'm explaining, or rather in a more synopsis way, in a more summarized way, that made it a little bit easier to kind of say what was and wasn't going down. Let me see if I can find it real quick to kind of puts this all together so we can get an easy understanding. There's a lot of lingo that some people, myself included, may have some issues trying to divulge and kind of put together properly. So essentially, I believe what it's saying is on Friday, the court will determine if Virgil can continue, on Friday, the court will determine if Virgil is to continue the contract with Golden Boy. If he gets out of it, he can sign the contract with any new promoter via Eddie or Turkey Al Sheik to make the Boots fight continue to happen as what is slated to be the date in April. That's the goal of Virgil Ortiz to get out of this. And then he can sign a 3-fight deal with Boots, get the $16 million or $20 million or however much the money is, or even that third offer that he was also offered from somebody, which wasn't disclosed. I believe that third offer might have been Zuffa Boxing, because they've been trying to get big-time stars and big-time events, and they want people to come through and see we got some heavy hitters and big-time players. That is speculation, though, but it could be a good assumption, especially with the amount of money they got to throw around. From the standpoint of you got TKO, Turkey backing them. They want to make big moves. They've already signed Jai Apatow. They're looking to get more deliberate names under their list to make their program worth watching. Which, no, honestly, it's actually been a pretty exciting Zuffa debut with the type of fights that they've been able to put on. A lot of knockouts, a lot of action. I'm not saying it's elite, high level, but it is at a level, okay, there might be something there from a consumption and entertainment standpoint. Production can be a little bit better. Commentary can be a little bit better, but even still, no problem. Regardless of which, that could have been that third offer of $16 million plus the pay-per-view shares and ticket sales and all that other stuff that Virgil Ortiz by Golden Boy is denied access to. So by Friday, if I'm reading this right, by Friday, he could be free to sign those deals to make the fight with Boots, as well as the multi-fight deals with other platforms. Because, per the lawsuit, Golden Boy is operating against what the parameters of the contract is supposed to be. And essentially, terms and conditions are done. Y'all broke the rules. My contract should be null and void, and you can't hold me back from making this type of fight, so I can do what I want to do. That's what, if I'm reading this correctly, that's what's supposed to be going down. And if that's the case, great. I love it. I hope that's the case. Because I know for a fact I want to see that fight. And we have been, again, ruminating, debating, critiquing, and talking all this time about how we want this fight with Boots to take place. But it's not even the fact that it's with Boots. It's the fact that on the bigger scale of boxing with Virgil Ortiz, we want to have him be a fixture in championship opportunities more often. And we want him, as his star power at this point in time is the highest it's ever been attached to one of the biggest names in the sport. You don't want to let that pass you by. And right now, as much as that fight is still a percolating, volatile cauldron of anticipation, we still have seen these types of fights essentially saying, it's never going to happen. Why should we care? Why are we talking about it? I've lost my luster for it. We saw it with Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. We saw it with Canelo versus David Benavidez. We've seen it with multiple big-time fights before where we wanted to finally get it, but we never got it. Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. I'm just naming heavyweights. This happened in other divisions as well. Caleb Plant versus Charlo. They had beef for 4 years or 3 or over 2 years at minimum. Plus the slap, and it just never happened. Charlo calling out everybody under the sun, never happened. All this, we've seen it, and it's like, why bother? That's the question, or that's the sentiment that normally ends with this type of story. It's bad, but it's the truth. That's what happens. So because of that, we are trying to make it so we don't lose out on this type of potential big time affair. Because the spotlight's there. And again, it sounds like, reading through what's been given, it is Golden Boy that's stopping everything. And it is Golden Boy that won't let Boots sign for the fight with Virgil. Excuse me. It's Golden Boy that won't let Virgil Ortiz sign with the fight with Boots. And if this court ruling happens on Friday, and it comes out that, hey, Ortiz is in the right, and he doesn't have to adhere to their contract anymore, he's free to sign it. And we could probably see at that point in time, yes, all the talk of we can see the fight happen within the week gets done. And we get the fight in April, hopefully. That's my prayer. That's my prayer. I know that for a fact. That is my prayer. Let me see. Trey Bacon, it sounds like everyone around Virgil doesn't believe he can win the fight. I've been saying that for a mighty long time. More specifically, his manager is with him that he wants the fight to happen. Virgil Ortiz wants the fight to happen. It is all signs pointing to De La Hoya. And again, you have to look at this from a business acumen. We saw Chris Algieri also brought this up on his show as well. And there is some truth to this, but at the same breath, there's also some falsehoods in the thinking. Not because what he's saying is false, but because the application shouldn't be going around for this type of situation. Because we complain that fights that we want to see happen don't happen because people wait around too long. And Mannix brought up a good point that right now Virgil Ortiz is the biggest asset. Right now Virgil Ortiz is the biggest asset for Golden Boy as a promoter, as a stable, as a company. Essentially, he's the biggest asset that they have to make people want to come into the door. If that asset loses, that loses luster. Hypothetically. Not even hypothetically, it happens. However, you have built this star up to be able to have this type of fight under their belt. The whole reason why you wanted Virgil Ortiz to be this type of big-time name was to get this type of big-time fight. This is literally what you wanted for one of your biggest stars in your stable outside of Ryan Garcia, who again is leaving. And Chris Mannix brought up a thing of, not Chris Mannix, somebody else, I can't remember his name, but somebody else brought up a thing about loyalty. Why isn't Virgil sticking with Boots? Or why isn't Virgil sticking with Oscar De La Hoya? Oscar De La Hoya helped him out when he had nothing. Oscar De La Hoya signed him when he was a teenager. Oscar De La Hoya did this, that, and the third, and all this other stuff. Which, great. Phenomenal. Helped out his manager, coach, all that stuff. Absolutely. That does not mean that day and time of you helped me out and you were loyal, absolutely. Does not mean that still at today, while that all does mean something, you still are my employer and you have to treat me like you're supposed to. And if things change with how you are operating, doesn't negate what you did back then, but doesn't apply to now. Because loyalty goes where it's supposed to be. You're doing everything you can to make me the best I can be, or put me in the positions to be able to make the money I want to make. I will stick with you because up until this point, you haven't failed me in trying to do what's best for me. Now you're going against me. And when I say that this was best for me now, you're pushing back and you're saying, nah. And it isn't because, oh, you're trying to look out for me. In this situation, you just don't want to, you just don't want the rust to shine or the rust to wear off, or rather the shine to wear off of me as your biggest cash cow. However, you wanted me to get to this level in the first place to be the cash cow. And now I got literally $20 million on the table. Upwards of 20, if not more. That I could have, and you just don't want stuff to go through. Even in negotiations, when it was just you and Matchroom, you were impeding and messing up these talks. Setting deadlines that we didn't set. You're operating against my interest now, even with what you did in the past. That doesn't apply no more. It ain't loyalty, it's business. I would love to be loyal to a person who's also doing right by me. However, you ain't. And so we gotta move. Unless you want to change your mind and get on the same page as us. This is a risk, but it's a risk that you wanted me to get to because you wanted me to be this type of big time star to get in this position. You gotta trust me in some way, and you ain't. And so it's a problem. It's a problem. Let me see, because it would be Golden Boy losing to a black fighter and Eddie Hearn. It shouldn't even be about race. Honestly, it shouldn't even be about the race of whether it's a black fighter or anybody. People lose to Canelo all the time, black, white, and otherwise. Yet we still, it's a phenomenal thing because it's a great fighter beating another great fighter. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be, as a promoter, you're working for the fighter. It's supposed to be you're working for the fighter. Yes, you want to make sure that you protect your asset. But the whole point of building up an asset like this is so that when a big time opportunity just come along, okay, it's a big risk, but we're guaranteed to get a big reward. And even if you falter, guess what? You are attached still to one of the biggest names in this sport because of this big time fight. And this is the very position, the very star power, the very opportunity that I knew you could get to in the first place. And now you don't want me to take it. After, per the lawsuit, I've broken all these other rules in terms of the promoter. I haven't been able to hit up my end of the bargain from the contract. And so it's like, I'm not trying to play devil's advocate. I'm not trying to be somebody who is working the side of the fence. I'm simply bringing the facts at hand with what they are. It is a indictment on Oscar De La Hoya that this type of rhetoric has surrounded him with money, issues and problems, contract disputes, and opportunities lost for every single one of the biggest people he's had at his table. Ryan Garcia, he's done with. Doesn't like Berlanga. Doesn't even work with him. Doesn't like him. Canelo despises that, but it says that you stole money. Apparently, right now it's looking like it because what you mean you only getting $3 million for the contract that you had with Oscar De La Hoya, but you could get up to 12 to 20 if you sign with anybody else. What the word do you mean? If that ain't stealing money, if that's the deal that you getting from other people, but and you only getting this much from Golden Boy, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. And even when the big fight that you wanted comes along, you then saying now you can't have it. When they're willing to give me all this for that? Like, I don't pick sides. I don't have a favorite. I don't care when it comes to promoters. I don't care about that at all. The only thing I care about is the fight itself. But I'm telling you right now, what's wrong is wrong. And this is wrong. And this is a grave that was dug by De La Hoya. Because it's inexcusable. Legitimately. To me, if you have a different sentiment, hey, absolutely, I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. But to me, it's inexcusable. It's ridiculous. That's what it is. And it's another situation where now maybe that loyalty argument would have been able to be applicable if you did just get the fight done. Get on the same page with Oscar De La Hoya or with Virgil Ortiz, excuse me, and make it so that, okay, we're going to make the fight. Maybe that loyalty argument would have been, okay, you got me what I asked you to do. I'm going to stay with you this whole time. And now you're shooting that in the foot as well. There's nothing about this whole environment with De La Hoya that seemingly is able to be rectified. Because this has been a consistent problem. And I just don't get how the same mistake keeps happening. I don't understand. I don't. Ain't about Mexican loyalty or sticking with your people. It's about you doing right. I don't care what race, creed, credit you are. It's about you doing right by your people. And right now, it ain't happening for a multiplicity of people. So it's like, my goodness. It's a self-dug grave. And if we see by Friday, he doesn't got to abide by it, he's gone. Yes, sign with Metro. Eddie Hearn will get you that, but Eddie Hearn will get you all those fights and more. He'll do whatever. Shoot, I would love to see Virgil Ortiz under Eddie Hearn with the fights that we could get with that type of promoter. I would love to see that. If he becomes a ring fighter and fights for the Ring Magazine, you can see left, right, and center, big time fight at the big time fight at the big time fight. Shoot, I'd even say sign with the PBC. My gosh, it could be the PBC. It could have been the PBC that gave him that $60 million potential contract deal. Potential, I don't know. Again, we don't know who the actual person is. Either way, like, it could be either one of them. But anybody else at this point, we better than Oscar De La Hoya at this current point in time. And again, yeah, he messed himself up. Oscar De La Hoya put himself in this position. He put himself in this position, and it's a shame. It's a real shame because it didn't have to be this way. Really didn't. Let me see. Truth, PBC up 1-0 in 2016 with Figueroa versus Ball. Currently, they are. I didn't even think about it. Now again, I'm not big on the promotional wars of who's up on who, but I will say that is true. That is true. They are up, and they could be in position to have a pretty big year this whole year as a promotional contingent, a promotional company, as a whole. If so, great. Phenomenal. I would love to see him, especially with the fighters that they do have under their belt. And if we see, again, I know we don't want to bring him up. I know, I'm not trying to bring him up consistently. I know, but with all the stuff involving Tank Davis, with all the drama that's laden with him, if he does indeed come back this year with the BBC, they could have a whole nother slew of a bigger run of big-time fights that everybody could be all hunky-dory with and all excited for, potentially. It's a good start to the year for the PBC with Al Haney. We'll see how it goes from here. Nonetheless, though, can they keep that momentum going forward? We will find out, understandably, and I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. But there's still more stuff to cover in the world of boxing that we do need to discuss involving the rest of, I guess, the conversations of, I want to say the conversations of going back to the Bill Haney comment. Because we brought up the hit list of Bill Haney. If you were here earlier in the show, and some people may not be able to see it, but I'll bring it up for you right now. He has a list of new people, a whole new list of people that he wants to take out for this year, or at least within the next 2 to 3 years. Hopefully it's within the next year or two. But I'll let him tell you his list right now so you can actually see exactly who to look at in the picture of the horizon of where Devin Haney and his career can potentially unfold going forward. If it'll play. Will it play? What? Hello? Are we good? Okay, we're good.
Like right now?
I mean, come on, man. You know, if you really wanted to fight Devin, you would call Dre. You know that's the big one. Your man Keyshawn Davis is on there, too. He can get it, too.
Like right now?
I mean, come on, man. You know, if you really wanted to fight Devin, you would call Dre. You know that's the big homie.
How many names are on the list? Solid, viable options.
Yeah, it's about 10. I think Tank is at the top of it. Maybe Shakur is next. Jerron Ennis. I think Conor Benn might be on there towards the bottom. You know what I mean? Ryan Garcia is number 10. Brian Norman was on there. Keyshawn Davis. Your man Keyshawn Davis is on there, too. He can get it, too.
Like right now?
Man, listen, I'll go on my email. He'd be playing, though. Keyshawn, you know you didn't have to fight this guy that you fighting right now. You know you could be fighting Devin next, right? You know that, right? I'll show the email.
Know that.
I'll show you the text right now. with him, because with our game, it's DTC, man, direct to consumer, man. You dig? No, we going to DMs. I mean, come on, man. If you really wanted to fight Devin, you would call Dre. That's the big homie. Mm-hmm. Man, Dre phone is quiet as a mother right now.
You don't think they want me?
Man, you ain't heard it, Dre. You ain't heard nobody say, and you up around the baddest motherfucking young motherfuckers in the game. You done showed them everything. What they gonna do next? We been waiting. We got the list. They on the list. Ain't nobody did Dre like that ever. Put him on no motherfucking list.
They ain't called
You
me.
dig? You put Dre's name on the list right now, he coming to see you. You dig? That's how disrespectful we is with this boxing.
Cold list.
Cold guy.
So as you can see, in a very confident standpoint of what he wants to have, he named essentially almost the entirety, 140, 147, just about with Keyshawn Davis, Shakur Stevenson, and specifically honed in on Keyshawn Davis saying, hey, buddy, you ain't hit us up, and you didn't have to fight Jermaine Ortiz. You could have fought us immediately. Now, mind you, this was before the fight with Jermaine Ortiz, and that whole card did take place. Now, since that card, however, since we saw Keyshawn Davis knock out and destroy Jermaine Ortiz, outbox him and outclass him and beat him up and put him to sleep, or rather put him down, we, on the flip side, haven't heard Devin Haney say anything. If anything, it's been Keyshawn Davis going out and saying, hey, yo, where you at? Where you coming through? We trying to get you. We trying to get at you. Mind you, this is after the recent fight of the card with Shakur and T.O. This was recorded beforehand. In the aftermath, we haven't heard nothing yet. So if that is true, and if Keyshawn is on that list, I would hope, if they really are about that, especially with the rhetoric we've heard Keyshawn consistently have now, they get on and make that fight. Because if so, hey, I would love to see that. Oh, listen, let me see. Abilla said Shakur, easy. I got to see that fight. And again, we touched on that earlier on the thing. You might not have been there, but we did play the clip of him saying it. And we have, this is what, the second time that that Devin Haney, Bill Haney, the Haneys as a whole, have put out a list, I believe, of the people that they want to fight next. Ironically enough, they have Ryan Garcia at 10th, even though that's the most diabolical, not diabolical, that's the most scintillating fight that the public wants to see between those two in a grudge match that would be for the ages. Unequivocally, that would be the fight that would take the headlines of the entire year, absolutely, along with the fight with Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. If that did in fact happen, Nakatani anyway, which is happening in May, David Benavidez potentially versus Canelo, if that fight ever did happen, or even Benavidez versus Bivol, ultimately to be as well. That the in terms of big time appeal of names, that's what could happen if we did get to see that fight. It would belong in that pantheon of excitement. But we want to see it happen. We got to make it happen. We need it to happen. I would hope it happens. But the question is now, the ball, if it is real that Keyshawn, since that fight with Jermaine Ortiz, is sticking to his words of looking for Devin Haney, putting the pressure on him, calling him out, going to his house, doing all these skits, saying, you're going to get hit with these bricks. Debo Dev, you're going to get knocked out and all that stuff, quoting stuff from the movie Friday. Ball might be in Devin Haney's court now. I'm dead serious. The ball, and it sounds weird because of the fact that Devin Haney won. It sounds weird because Devin Haney won against Brian Omoji, because Devin Haney is seen as the best welterweight in the world, because Devin Haney should be the man that calls all the shots. But however, this is what the dynamics of pressure can do. Even against the best of the best, it can flip the script on what the perspective of the public looks at this fight. It specifically looks at who's trying to get at the fighter. Who is the aggressor? Like I said, a lot of stuff happens when it comes to inside and outside the ring, even outside stuff, though it may not seem like it means something, it does mean something to people. And right now, it's looking like Keyshawn Davis applying a whole bunch of pressure to get that fight with Devin Haney. He's sticking to his word seemingly. I want that smoke with the likes of Devin Haney. Give me a shot at 147. Let me go and put you to sleep. Let me go and put you out. Let me go and show you why I'm the best in this land. And and I would love to see it. Hopefully we get it. But to a degree, waning sentiments may start to lean that the ball is in Devin Haney's court. And if you've heard all this noise and your dad been talking like he been talking as well before the Ortiz fight, now afterwards, what you gonna do? We're gonna have to find out and see. Let me see Barry, what's going on with you? Thank you for tuning into the show. We're so happy that you're with us on today. We appreciate you tuning in, showing up. Hopefully you're leaving a like on the video. Hopefully everybody is leaving a like on this stream because we're having such great conversation, such great rhetoric. We still got so much more to cover, and we got the championship rounds we're going to delve into in a little bit, involving the world of everything else in the sports zeitgeist of conversation. We want to hear from you absolutely on today, but please keep on liking the stream and keep on sharing the show. It means so much to me, absolutely. But let me see, Shakur didn't impress me with T.O. I'm sticking with my fire. Oh, no, you talk about the impressive nature of the win as a whole. Now, I do want to say, I thought that fight should have shut down a lot of the excitement, or rather the unexciting sentiment surrounding Shakur Stevenson. I thought because he walked T.O. down, he was countering him consistently. He was indeed standing in the pocket with T.O., and he wasn't just running. It was T.O. that was trying to lunge in and get shots, and he kept getting countered with that jab, that stiff, sharp jab consistently. Busted T.O. up, did some damage, swelled up his eyes, cut up his face. Even though I said that T.O. was easy to cut, still, that was incredibly impressive. And he was then, in the later rounds, walking down deliberately and applying pressure to T.O., causing T.O. to back up and landing some really thudding shots. And I thought that it was an exciting enough fight. It was like, okay, not only did this show the talent, but it showed the other aspect of that sweet science conversation that we've had. It wasn't just being scientific and getting away from shots, but the sweet stuff is landing stuff. And he was doing it. He was. Still at an accuracy above 50%. Ridiculous. Or almost at 50%. Preposterous. But this is the nature of Shakur at his best, which we love, which I love, which we want to keep seeing. If you think that Shakur is boring now, I don't know what to say. You can say that he's still not your cup of tea. You can say that he's still not as exciting as you would like him to be. Understandable. But I don't know how you can look at that fight and say, the brother still bores me. I don't know how you can say it. I don't. Because and I'm not comparing the skill set, but some of the similar things that we had with Floyd Mayweather, when people were calling him a runner and boring, he was indeed still doing excellent work, giving people. It was indeed. The sharpness was getting oohs and ahs from the crowd, making him missing and countering him consistently, and making people, oh my gosh, that was such a sweet shot. He was doing it. This isn't me saying that there isn't times that Shakur can't do more. But the more consistent rhetoric of this brother's doing quality work, that's what we've been asking for from Shakur. And we've gotten it. 3 fights in a row, Josh Padley, Zepeda, and now with Chief Lopez, the best fighter he's fought on his resume to date. A pound-for-pound brother, he did the same as he did to Harutunian. A pound-for-pound cat in T.O., he did the same thing to him that he did to Jamal Herring. A pound-for-pound brother in T.O., he did the same thing against T.O. that he did to Oscar Valdez. What else does he need to do? To be, okay, this brother is legit and entertaining fighter. At least to some capacity. I don't know what else you can say. I don't know what else I can say. If you just don't like him, you just don't like him. I'm not going to fight you. But, I mean, my gosh. To say that he's boring, I don't know if we can say that anymore. Let me see. You got to give credit. Kerr, he made T.O. look like a fluke champ. He did. And T.O. was not a fluke. Understand? We're not calling out other channels. We don't do what they do. We know T.O. was and is a hard fighter to beat. An elite fighter. Deserved to be in the pound-for-pound top 10. And he was number 8. On my list, he was number 8. On the Ring Magazine list, I think he was number 8. On most lists, he was within that 10. He deserved it. And he got beat. Straight up. It was not because he wasn't ever great. It's because in fact Shakur's just that doggone good. He's just that good. He's just that good, genuinely. Let me see. All the top YouTube boxing channels said Shakur needed a TKO. Now, if they said that that's their sentiment, it would have been even more. If he had knocked out Tio, he probably would have been third in the world, second in the world, most likely. If he had knocked out Teofimo Lopez, he probably would have been seen as second or the best outright fighter in the world. No question. Even I said that. But he didn't need a TKO. There's no disrespect to other channels, but he didn't need a knockout. He didn't need to go and put somebody to sleep. It's never been the biggest part of his game since getting out of 130. Mike, it has not been the biggest part of his game since getting out of 130 that you can put people out. But to make a fight, to beat somebody in the same destructive way or same dominating way of skillful elegance, while also you putting on a full display of your own abilities. That's what we wanted to see. Show us exactly why you should be seen as one of the best in the world, because this is the chance to prove everything you said about you or everything that you've propagated about your talent is real. Are you really the best defensive fighter? Are you really that much of an all-seeing eye? Are you really all that in the bag of chips when it comes to defense and countering? And he showed it to the point that everybody's saying, okay, yeah, he's better than almost everybody else in the sport and deserves that moniker. And so he didn't need a TKO. Those who said it, they may have their standards high, which I'm not going to fight against, but I'm telling you right now, that's not how you should look at the sport when it comes to Shakur Stevenson. It's not. Because if that's the case, people that don't get knockouts straight up shouldn't be considered. If that's the case, if Tio needed a KO in that fight, that should then mean that we need to see Benavidez knock out Zurdo Ramirez at cruiserweight. That's what that should mean. That means that we need to see Keyshawn Davis knock out Devin Haney at 140 pounds. That's what that should mean. And that's just not true. That's just not true. That's not true. It's not true. You don't need a knockout. It can help exponentially to signify, okay, my gosh, oh, he did something great and he put him to sleep. Oh, wow, incredible. Yes, indeed. But that does not mean that it's necessary to be able to say you are this type of insane talent. It's not. And people who think like that, I'm not going to fight against them, but I think that is a negative way of looking at the sport, because then it boils down to the only result is a fight-ending result instead of really this is a sport. You can have a bunch of different ways to show some skill, but the skill itself is the weapon that you need to have to make yourself the best that you can be. And if you're taking that away as to, he did all this great work, but he didn't put him to sleep, you shouldn't give him as much credit. I don't think that's a fair way to look at it. From my perspective, like I said, I'm not going to fight you if that's how you feel, but that's, it overlooks the technical efficiency that somebody's able to show on a night-to-night basis. It really does for me, and it's a shame. And last thing, before I say that, let me read your chats. We got people coming in the chat like, Y2J, yo, Bob, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. So glad that you're here with us. Absolutely, Shakur fights are like a sparring session. Nothing exciting. And again, it's not everybody's cup of tea. I thought that the fight with Tio was exciting. If you didn't, no problem. I don't think we should be calling Shakur boring, because that fight against Tio, that wasn't boring. It was a one-sided affair. It was a masterclass, but it wasn't boring. I don't think it was boring. And the last 3 fights he's had hasn't been boring to the point, to the extent that we were saying it was in the past. If you still feel it is, I'm not going to fight you, because it's the stylistic nature isn't everybody's cup of tea. I get it. But I don't think he should be considered boring in my estimation because of what he shows consistent. I think it's great. But let me see what you got to say. Barry Shakur blew his big shot. He's not a dog in the ring. He blew it. I don't think so. I don't know about that. I don't know what he's blown. I really don't. The only thing he blew was expectations out the water. Because mind you, I picked Tio to win that fight. I picked Tio to win that fight in a close split decision because I thought the athletic ability and the unique offensive capabilities that we saw and knew Tio had, he was going to be able to do some real damage. To the point it's going to push him hard, push him to be able to really test the limits of that defensive acumen. And he passed the test with flying. It didn't even look like it was a contest. Again, he made Tio look like he didn't belong, and we know Tio does belong. It was almost a shutout. Outside of one round, it might have been a shutout. Like, it was that impressive. It was that impressive. And so I don't think he blew it at all. Let me see. What was it? Bobby TR4, how you doing? Good to see you. I had to make sure I got the name right. Appreciate you tuning in to the show. You're moving. I hope I'm not. If you're talking about I'm moving the goalposts, I hope I'm not. I'm glad that you're here. Please leave a like on the stream. I appreciate the rhetoric. I absolutely love it. I want to hear what you all got to say. No question. I hope, if this is in reference to me, I hope I'm not trying to move the goalposts. Hopefully I'm not. If I am, please point it out so I can clarify some things to make sure you all get the sentiment. But I'm not trying to move the goalposts. If this isn't in reference to me, hey, my apologies. Get back to your conversation in the chat. But if it is, I'm not trying to move the goalposts. I tried to be pretty consistent when it comes to Tio, Shakur, and the rest of this pantheon of top 10 status for what it takes to be in that level and what you can do to elevate to that level. And I thought he did just that. And so it's good. It's good to me. Let me see. The sport needs knockouts. Nobody cares about running. And well, again, one, Shakur didn't run. And two, no, I'll put a pin in this. This is actually a really good comment that I do want to get back to from the state of identities of how people feel about boxing and not boxing. But let me see what you all got to say. I'm not a Kurt fan. Bro showed he was a dog. He didn't run. He pressed the pressing fight. He did. Thank you. It's not even the fact that we're not even trying to say that the brother is in fact just a dog. He's a different animal, just walking people down and putting. But he showed a well-rounded arsenal that we were to somewhat degree skeptical. Not because he didn't have the capacity, but because was he willing to do that? And could he do it against somebody that was seen as a true, viable equal or somebody within the same vicinity of unique, elevated talent that most of the other people in the world just don't have the capacity to do? And that's what made this fight so much more impressive. Let me see. Bobby Murtaya versus Cruz was sweet science with action. Shakur just boring, and y'all can't accept it. How do we say this? Both fights were indeed sweet science. Both fights were indeed sweet science. They were absolutely. Each one was a more. I'm trying to make sure I got my words right. Both fights were examples of the sweet science. They were. Murtaya versus Cruz was an aggressive version because both of them were slipping and countering, but both of them were taking a bunch of chances. Murtaya was trying to counter, or rather respond to the volleys of punches that Cruz was throwing. Cruz was leading with that straight left going into, with that jab going into chopping left hand. And throw 3-punch combinations. Murtaya was trying to land big shots downstairs to the body while slipping and evading the volleyed offense. Cruz was using the ropes to try to get away and be defensive and then still use his speed to not just get out of dodge, but also land in volume against the bigger guy. And Murtaya, while maybe not as fast, was using angles and legitimately good footwork to cut off the ring, keep the pressure on Andy Cruz, and break down not just the guard, but break down the options that Andy Cruz had to be able to say, okay, I'm starting to get to you now. I know what's coming now. And now we can really go tit for tat. And by the 12th round, all of a sudden it turned into a real war. Because both of them had to grind it out because they had given all their tricks of the trade. That was just as much, that was the sweet science, just like Shakur and Tio. The difference is Tio was more willing to take riskier chances. Shakur, his whole thing is, I'm not trying to take a bunch of chances. I'm trying to be clean and effective and still do, okay, some real impressive stuff. The dichotomy of that makes it so that, hey, Murray and Cruz is going to be more exciting because both people are saying, I'm going to take more risk by myself. And you're going to take more risk by yourself. And that combination of elevated risk on both ends that both of us are willing to do makes for more sketchy, close calls, trading opportunities, and all that stuff. T.O. was trying to come out and be aggressive against Shakur Stevenson. And Shakur, because how he fights, I'm not going to let you just come in and take advantage of the space. I'm going to be defensive. I'm going to make sure you can't hit me. And when I see an opening, boom, I'm going to catch you. And that's my risk, is to counter after your shot. That's when I know it's time for me to take a risk. Now, the risk on Shakur's end was I'm going to take the countering opportunities every single time I can. And we were seeing it with that jab. I mean, every time T.O. threw a three-punch combination, immediately pop. Pop, pop. That's all it was. And we saw it get more damaging as the night went on. And eventually the other elements of, okay, now I got you broken down, I got you thinking, and now my risk can open up a little bit more. I'm still looking to counter, but now I'm countering with the check hook. Now I'm countering with the straight right. Now I'm going downstairs to the body. Now I'm landing 2 or 3 punches. Now, because I'm in control, I can take more risk. Murray and Cruz, they're more taking risk from the jump. And so, this isn't, we can talk about risk assessment as well. Tank, same thing or similar thing. Tank, when he fights, he loses the first 5 rounds. He doesn't take a risk big up until rounds, well, late in the 5th or the 6th round on, because his plan is in the second half, I'm looking for the KO. But in the first half, just like with Lamont Roach, just like with stinking Frank Martin, Mario Barrios, he's going to lose those first 5 rounds because he's not taking any risk. He's trying to download and assess. Now, we call Tank exciting because, yeah, he ends in a knockout. And he is an exciting fight. However, he's not going guns blazing the whole time. He's doing some of the similar stuff that we see Shakur do. None of them are bad. None of them are bad. All of them are and can be and are indeed exciting. But it also depends on your preference. If you like the more aggressive, hey, we're taking chances all fight long. We still going to be slick, but we ain't going to just be oh so defensive. Then, hey, Murray, Andy Cruz, that type of sector fighter, you're going to love. Absolutely. And Shakur, too conservative for your liking. I have no issue there. If you're more like the guns blazing guy and you like somebody that forget being slick, forget what the risk of the risk is, I'm going to go and we're going to put you out. Deontay Wilder, Eastside Cruz, fighters of that like, we're going to go to work. And you love them. No problem. No issue. If you like the more conservative defensive fighter, hey, this man's doing clean work. He's not taking a bunch of risks, and he's still doing very quality scoring and skill. The elegance of the sport is his bigger priority rather than the risk. You're going to like Shakur. You're going to like Pernell Whitaker. You're going to like the Floyd Mayweather, that sector fighter. It is not a knock, but it's to some degree it's a preference. But all 3 are forms of the sweet science. They are. I'm not saying that Shakur is a exciting fighter like Deontay Wilder. I'm not saying he's Mike Tyson. Okay, I'm not saying he's Noya Inoue. Lord knows I ain't saying that. What I am saying, though, is that his style of recent has shown, okay, he has the capability to be clean and effective and be defensive, but he is also, especially with these last recent run of stretches of fights, he's willing to say, okay, I'm not going to just be unhittable. I'll take more opportunities to really land some solid leather. And it won't be just a jab and move, jab and run type situation. That's my thing. Especially since his hands have healed, mind you. The biggest part about that was because he didn't have good hands. He didn't have quality fist because they kept breaking. But now he worked with Floyd Mayweather. Seemingly he's got that work together. He's fixed that problem. So now he can afford to go and throw with a little bit more intention. Look to not just utilize that jab, but take a little bit more of a dominant assertion of power shots. Not to compromise his game, but to go and make himself a little more appealing and even further control the fight. Because now he can actually throw. So, at least in my opinion, that's my perspective. But I'm not mad at if you don't like the style or like the style of Shakur. I just don't think he should be seen as boring as people may talk about. At least in my opinion. At least in my opinion. But let me see. We game all night. Let me see what you got to say. How you doing? Good to see you. We've had a lot of people in the chat. My gosh. I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to avoid people. I'm just trying to explain. Because y'all bringing up some good points. Let me see. Hating on more black U.S. fighters on another channel. We ain't doing that. I don't think we're doing that. I hope we ain't. Look, when it comes to race and creed and whoever you are, ethnicity, we don't do that. We don't hate on nobody. We talk about a fight game, and I don't care if you black, white, or otherwise. If you can knock somebody out, you can knock somebody out. If you better than somebody, you better than somebody. If you can beat somebody, you're gonna beat them. If you're fun, you're fun. If you're boring, you're boring. But this shouldn't be, at least on this channel. We don't push the race narrative of one sect of people's better than the other, or this is why somebody's like the way they are, because they're black, or because they're white, or because they're Hispanic or Mexican. Beyond just the natural, legitimate grouping of styles based on where you're from. Yes, the Mexican style is probably done by Mexicans. The slick style is normally done by black Americans. We've had people other do it. We've had other people take from those and do it themselves. Caleb Plant, it fights like a slick black fighter. Moves his feet, uses his jab. It's very tricky, but he's white. No, anyway, he's Japanese, but he takes a plethora of skill sets from the Mexican style of boxing. Why? Because he grew up watching it. Literally, that's what his dad trained him for. He saw Cruz fights like Mike Tyson. He Mexican. Understand what I did? High guard, down low, we swinging. That's straight up. It's not nearly as refined, but you get what I'm saying. We, at least on this channel, we try not to do the race thing. Only because we don't shy away from the conversation, absolutely. But to use it as a derogatory thing against other people or against fighters, that we don't do. At least that's not what I do. That's not what I do. Anyway, but let me keep on reading what you all got to say. First, I came up watching Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Julio Cesar Chavez. The fight was one. Okay, that I can understand. When you grew up watching 70s, 80s, and 90s, some people, for some people, shoot 60s and 50s. Yeah, it can be boring. I understand. I understand. But I don't think that should be an indictment on the skill. Though it may not be what you would like to see, it is still something that's impressive to a fault. That does deserve respect. That's all I'm saying. You don't have to like the fight. But for everything, at least for me, the critiques I had with Shakur, I don't have with Shakur anymore because of what he's shown in the last 3 fights of his career. Though I know what he's going to fight like, does not mean that I'm going to detract when he does all the stuff I've been asking him to do, just to make it even within your own style. Okay, you're still looking to put some level of pressure and pedal to the metal to make it so that you're not just being so reclusive. That's all I was saying. And he got that uber conservative nature, so I'm happy for it. I like it anyway. Let me see. Shakur's not boring. You put on a show and made it look easy. Like I said, for the boxing, even for the people that are uber technical, you could see Tio or Shakur was really trying to put some gas on it. Even the crowd was cheering. Mind you, even the crowd wasn't responding. Listen to the stadium as that fight went on, even with Shakur being in full control. But they weren't just sleeping. As the fight got later on, they were actually getting more into it because Shakur was doing more stuff offensively because as he got more control, he took more chances, like we've been asking. It wasn't to the point that he was just swinging away. Yeah, but it was, okay, hey, this is good. This is good. He didn't just lay down, like with Devin Haney. He didn't just lay down in the second half and do nothing. The only break that he took was in the 8th round. And outside of that, he went back on the foray of even walking down to you. And so I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good, at least in my estimation. And so y'all know it's called boxing, not knockout. Yeah, I mean, again, the preference is going to be the preference. I love seeing knockouts, but I understand that's not going to be the case all the time. But that does not mean it should detract from somebody being, okay, this brother good. This brother good. This brother really good. Mind you, they said the same thing about, don't forget, they said the same thing about Muhammad Ali. I hate that this brother's dancing around. Stand and bang and fight with the rest of them. But he was still putting on all-time great performance. One of the greatest heavyweights of all time. Now, yes, he was more aggressive than people want to give him credit for because he was putting people to sleep. I think, was he 53 and 6? I think almost 40 KOs on his resume. Insane. One of the best jab and 1-2 combination we ever, one of the fastest boxers we ever seen. One of the greatest hearts. One of the greatest chins. He's got it all. It's phenomenal. But he was also seen as hated but born. Again, he was a heavyweight, and he was willing to go to war more than we've seen other people that try to emulate Ali, but even still, this doesn't mean that he's better. They said the same thing about him. And we saw how his career turned out. Not comparing them in terms of skill, but the rhetoric, somewhat similar. A little bit, just a little bit. Let me say, they say Shakur put on a masterclass. To me, what Figueroa did was 10 times the masterclass. What Figueroa beating Ball was indeed incredible. And I'm glad we got Figueroa getting a championship around his waist. Like, absolute congratulations there. I don't think that was more impressive than Tio, because Tio was better than Nick Ball. But again, it was still a phenomenal performance. Now, both of them were great. I just felt that Shakur versus Tio was a better performance. But that fight, yes, was more exciting. It had a late round stoppage, late round KO. Nick Ball being the aggressor. Figueroa was still trying to bang and box with him. Even Figueroa was boxing with Nick Ball, using the outside length more than I thought he was going to use it with. And when it came time to brawl, hey, he stuck his head down and said, we're going to go to work. So I love it. I love it. So I'm not detracting against any of it. It's all good. It's all good, absolutely. I'm trying to make sure I'm trying to fight other people. Trying to make sure we got other people in chat, so I love this. I really do. Let me see a technique. 538, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. So happy that you're here with us on today. I'm trying to, anyway, it's better than any American right now. Bam don't want to smoke. Who said something about Bam? Somebody said something about Bam. In fact, this is actually a great time. We can go into the World Championship rounds right now because we got so many people in the chat. Hey, real quick, we're going to transition championship rounds. What's that mean? Y'all can talk about anything. Whatever topics, discussions, debates y'all want to have, we in it now. We can delve into it. We got so many people interacting and conversating. We still have some stuff we can cover on, but we're going to turn the floor over to you all and let you all say what you all want to say. Give your own thoughts and opinions, your questions, your comments, your concerns, your debates on boxing or anything else involving the world of sports. We're here for it all, baby. For your viewing and listening pleasure. We got 30 minutes to an hour. We want to hear everything you got to say, so keep on putting your comments in the chat. And the floor is open for you all in your conversation. Come on. Let's see what you got. Come on. Let's go. Let's see what y'all got to say as we delve into the championship rounds right here and right now. Yes, indeed. I tell you, and again, y'all doing such good work there. Yeah, this is such good conversation. I love it. I really do love it. I do. And truly, I do. Shakur is like a baseball game with. See. Okay, that's funny. That's funny. I'm not gonna lie. Hey, watch you, Jay. That's funny. That's funny. I'm not gonna lie. That's funny. It's like a baseball game with only one. That got me. Okay, that got me. I'm not gonna lie. That's funny. So Devin, Bivol, and etc. fighters are born to y'all. That is kind of a good question. If anything, if you say that Shakur's boring, then you're probably gonna say Devin Haney's boring as well. Now, Bivol, different story. He's not boring. We've seen that brother. We've seen him. We know he ain't boring. But went to war with Archie Beterbiev in two of the best fights of 2024. Was it 2024 and early 2025? He can fight now. He can fight. He can go. However, he was also seen as a brother who he doesn't get a bunch of knockouts, even though he tries to. Last knockout up until recent, I think it was Lyndon Arthur, I believe. If I have my fighting record correctly. But even still, most likely, those who say Shakur is boring will lean towards Devin Haney's boring. Bibble's boring. Who else is not? Richardson Hitchens. Good gosh, Lord, they gonna say Richardson Hitchens don't even turn on the TV. Good gosh. If you think Shakur is boring, you probably won't even tune in to the co-main event between Hitchens and Duarte, most likely, because that style of fighter just ain't your cup of tea. And again, I'm not knocking it, but that's most likely that most of the time that's how the track thinking. Not saying it's everybody. Not saying it's everybody, but that's how the normal thinking goes through when it comes to you think this guy's this type of way. Most likely, the other people you think the same thing as well. Most likely, but even still, this is why this is good. Cause we want to hear what you all. We want to hear your preference. We want to see what y'all like. What do y'all not like? What do you think a style is killing the sport to some degree, or do you think there's a style that could knockouts going to be the only thing that helps make this sport great, or is it just the better clashing and of recent the better amalgamation of top-tier talent against top-tier talent that we've had on a consistent basis since 2023 that has helped to really bring out the better aspects of some of these boring fighters that we've had. A lot of times, yeah, it was boring because they didn't have to push themselves to do anything because the matchmaking wasn't that great at all. All of a sudden, Riyaz as it comes through, it starts with in a way going undisputed, Terrence Crawford going undisputed in 2023, getting Errol Spence Jr., and then from that, it just snowballed into we're getting bigger, better fights with people that are at the top of their game, fighting against people that can bring out that other needed skill set of aggression that they didn't have to use most of the time against other fighters. And so we're seeing, okay, hey, this guy might not be as bad as we thought. Because of the fact that we're seeing a new wrinkle because somebody is finding in the ring that's bringing out that new wrinkle. See, that could be why we're seeing what we're seeing. Hopefully, that's the case. Let me see what you all got to say. We're in the championship rounds now. Bam is ducking. Ducking who? Who's Bam ducking? I don't know who Bam is ducking. He just fought the best boy at, what was it? Was it 118? 115 or 118? He was going to fight Nakatani next before Nakatani went and moved up to fight anyway at 122. Don't be surprised if we see Nakatani after, in a way, win, lose, or draw, get a fight with Ben Rodriguez. Don't be surprised at all, especially with how Robert Garcia is talking. Don't be surprised if we see that fight happen. I can't wait to see it. Anyway, don't want the smoke at 126. Yeah, I think he does. I think he does. If Nick Ball got knocked out by Figueroa, mind you, Nick Ball was supposed to be the guy that, the power ain't going to be able to do nothing with him. The speed of Nick Ball is going to be able to go and catch. Anyway, what did I tell you? Nick Ball, if he fought anyway, go look at my most popular short on this channel. I said Nick Ball would die against Inoue because that brother is too reckless, he gets too aggressive, and he overextends to the point that he puts himself in danger to get caught. And if he gets put against Inoue, he's going to get put to sleep quick and in a hurry. It ain't going to be close. And what happened in the 12th round, the brother went and got uber aggressive, wasn't correctly judging distance, and even in a close range war, the second he missed and he got caught with a shot in a trading standpoint, brother got put down and put out. And I'm telling you, Figueroa, he did it in 12. Anyway, would have done it in 6. He would have done it in 6. I tell you, he can handle the smoke at 120, at 126. Even if the power ain't there, the boxing is so far elevated. He can handle. He can do it. I guarantee you, he can do it. Promise you. Bam's scared to put on that weight and get the real smoke. I don't think he is. I dare say, shoot. He's good enough that he can. If Nakatani isn't at 122 and Bam moves up to 122, most likely Bam goes undisputed. Most likely, I'm almost assured. If we see Inoue and Nakatani, or we see Inoue leave, Nakatani stay at 122, outside of Nakatani, he probably gets probably gets all the belts. Probably. He's that special. He's that special. Mind you, even Shakur is saying, yo, this cat, he's hitting harder than people that are at that point in time 135. Mind you, that would mean he hits harder than Ramon Cardenas, who used to fight at 130 before coming down to 122 and having a knockout streak outside of Inoue of about 4 fights straight. And if we're gonna be honest, in those 5 fights that he's been at 122, he's knocked down at minimum every opponent to win against. With his most recent one being Robles. But he's knocked out everybody else except for Inoue, who he still knocked down but got knocked out and beat. But like, he's punching harder than that, per Shakur's own words. And that was with him young. That was him at like 112. Now at 118, potentially 122 in the very near future. Oh gosh, I'm scared for that. And again, it's effortless power because it's an effortless fighter. That's what he is. He is an effortless fighter. Bam making history at 118 first. Yeah, he is. He is. And I'm excited for it. Again, he's one of my favorite fighters. He is the 3rd best fighter in the world to me. Shakur is 4th. Bam is 3rd. Usyk's 2nd and Inoue's 1st at this point in time. Right now, that's my pound for pound top 4 anyway. With 5 being David Benavidez. So my top 5 is Inoue, Usyk, Bam, Shakur, and then David Benavidez at 5th. That's my top 5, and I think that's a pretty good list. If I do say so myself. If you disagree, I would love to see your thoughts as well. I would love to see that. Absolutely, no question about it. Let me see. I'm trying to see everybody's comments. Good God, there's a whole bunch. There's a lot of people here. T.O. better than Ball. He barely landed 1 punch. Yeah, no, he is. T.O. is a lot better than Ball. He only landed 1 shot. Let me see. Henry. Also Henry. I didn't even say hi to you. Henry, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. I did not say hi. You commented earlier. I forgot to say hi to you. What's going on with you? Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you're leaving a like on the stream. And I can't wait to see what you all got to say. Can't believe there isn't more people tuned into the channel. Hey, look, I'm just doing the best I can, trying to make it so that people want to see it, man. Hey, I appreciate the kind words. We're doing the best we can to try to be the best show out there. We may not have all the money. We're going to give you the best outlook. You may disagree with what I got to say. You may think, but you're going to be entertained, number 1. And number 2, we're going to give you as much of an edifying, unbiased opinion in a way that we want everybody to feel involved. Whether you know the sport, whether you don't know the sport, whether you're a fan of the NBA, NFL, boxing, you may not know nothing about nothing. We just wanted you to be able to say, hey, I can tune in, and even if I don't know what they're talking about, I can learn something and have a good time. That's all I'm hoping you all can do, and we can make the biggest community possible, all with you and your support. So we just thank you all for being here. I can't do this without you. I'm nothing on this show without y'all being a part of it. So y'all are blessing me beyond compare, and we love you so much. We love you. Love all of you. Love all of you. Absolutely. No question about it. But let me oh, Lord. We just appreciate it so much. But let me see what you got on Fundora versus Keith part-time Thurman. I mean, hey, look, okay, he did come back now, okay? He may not be part-time anymore. He was going to be full-time, but he did have to take time off because Fundora got injured. So I can't hold that against him as much. But I will say this fight with Thurman and Fundora is very interesting because with how much Keith Thurman retained from his first fight back, though it was against Jarvis. It wasn't an uber impressive, oh my gosh, top 10 level talent. But it did show when we need to see what Keith Thurman had to return to this competitive fervor of championship level at a very deep division at 154. I got impressed. I'm not going to lie. And if he's truly been in the gym, getting that rust off with a lot of sparring, a lot of training, and even with the elongated time of being out the ring due to, again, the injury, he has really put in that work like he was at 147. We could see an upset. Now, that does not mean I'm picking the upset. I got Fundora beating him. I do. I got Fundora beating him by unanimous decision. I do. I got him beating him by unanimous decision. But again, if he can get back, because he's still, while he's 35, 36 years old, it still seems like he's got enough that he can get back in tune with that style of boxing that he had at 147 when he was one of the best in the world going up against Pacquiao, even though Pacquiao beat him. Insanely destructive, powerful weapon of destruction with ankles and footwork aplenty, speed abounding, and legitimately rocks for hands that this cat could, with any type of tap, he could do some real damage. Not saying he was a one-hitter quitter, but he's also called Keith one time. But he can't put you out just in one shot. He gets back to that, or even a semblance of that, we could see Fundora in some trouble. We could. We really could. Because unlike with Tim Tszyu, unlike with some of the other fighters that he's fought against, Keith Thurman is going to be a very mobile, moving, hard to find type fighter. Even with the length and range at a 6'5" frame, a 79-inch reach or roughly 79-inch reach that we see Fundora have, it's going to be hard to hit that, especially punching down. Not saying he's not used to it, because again, this is what he does. But unlike what I think he fought against Lubin and he beat him and knocked him out. When he fought against most of the champions, they don't move or operate like Thurman. They don't. They're more stationary than Thurman. They're more flat-footed to some degree. And they're the easier tell of what they're going to abide by is going to be a whole lot different, coupled with the fact that everybody else at that type of reach, mitigating that type of range, and operating even when they close the distance, especially against somebody like Fundora, they haven't been able to figure that Rubik's Cube out. But I do, outside of again Mendoza, who landed counter shot that knocked him out. Yeah, absolutely. But with Thurman, his skill set, he can get it done. He can get it done, and he can hurt Fundora. He can hurt him. He can hurt him. That's the thing. He on the inside, he can hurt him with a volley of shots. Not just gonna be one shot in a waning exchange. It's gonna be, if I land one, most likely another one's coming. Straight up before Fundora can get his shot off, even though he loves to fight on the inside, he could get beat to the punch in his own range. And if that's the case, it can get sketchy. It can get sketchy. So Thurman's got a better shot than you may think, but I do think Fundora's going to take it. But Thurman, be on the lookout, brother. If he gets a semblance of that fight at 147 or that style of fighting back at 147 up to 154, he can be a problem. He can be a real problem, man. And he can be a real problem. Let me see. Yo, Boxing Pro, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us today. So happy. Let me see what you got to say. Bam is the most talented. That's a good question. Is Bam the most talented fighter of that three or four? Excuse me. We want to talk about straight up pound for pound level. That's a very good question. I think, anyways, the most pure in everything. He's the most skilled at all of it. I mean, Bam might be. This isn't a knock against Shakur, but the totality of ability that Bam has, he might be the second best well-rounded fighter in terms of complete skill set that we got in boxing, with Shakur being third and then Usyk being fourth, only because Usyk, he does everything. No question. This isn't a knock. But the strictly by the refinement of the skill. Well, now Usyk is also incredibly refined in his own right, and he's doing it at almost 40 years old. That's a good question. That's a really good question. That's a good debate. I'm not gonna lie. That's a really good debate. I'm gonna delve into that. Absolutely. Thurman with the win, and we're gonna find out. He might get it done. I'm telling you, he might get it done. Is this Fundora's toughest opponent? This is Fundora's most accomplished opponent. I don't know if he's the toughest though, because up until this point, Tim Tszyu was the toughest opponent he had faced. Tim Tszyu or Lubin. I would argue Tim Tszyu, because Tim Tszyu was the most accomplished. However, Keith Thurman, as a fighter, is a better fighter than Tim Tszyu, in my opinion. But I don't know what he has in his second return at 154. Depending on what he shows, yeah, Thurman could be the best opponent Fundora's ever faced. He could be. He's definitely the hardest from the standpoint of skill set, trickiest, the most adaptable, absolutely. So from that standpoint, yeah, you can say on paper, yeah. But it's just, the execution, due to the unknown consistency. Right. Due to the lack of consistency. Yeah, excuse me. Due to the lack of consistency, the unknown of the real skill level of Thurman, we can't hang our hat on, okay, yeah, this is the best dude that he's faced, because we don't know how much he's lost compared to this championship level up here. If it was the Thurman that was at 154 and immediately went up to was at 147 and immediately moved up and immediately fought, okay, then yeah, I would be even more inclined to say, yeah, this is the hardest brother he's faced. But we won't know if that sentiment is true, though on paper it could be, up until the night of the fight. So I'm gonna hang my hat on until fight night what I'll say yes or no. At this point in time, it's a potential, but it's up in the air up until we see him actually in the ring against this type of challenge in his own right in Thurman, because Thurman's got some stuff to prove in his own career as well. Any thoughts on Spence versus Sue? We did cover that earlier last week. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago when it got announced? And I said this, I'm glad it's happening. I'm happy. I am happy. I love it. But there's a fear. There's a fear, because I don't know how exactly Spence, going into the straight abyss of Tim Tszyu. Mind you, this isn't saying Tim Tszyu is still top 10, but Tim Tszyu is still a viable competitor, though well down the list as a championship, as a championship contender. Tim Tszyu, while he's damaged goods from the standpoint of he's been knocked out by Bakram, he still has he still might be going through some of the PTSD of what he experienced with Fundora in both the first fight and second fight when he quit on the stool. We get it. It's a long road to getting back to redemption for Thurman, or for Tim Tszyu. But it's the fact that when we're looking at Errol Spence Jr., he's walking into this naked. There's no tune-up. He's even colder off of the truck than the likes of, Jamal Charlo. You got to understand, we're at a point in time, Jamal Charlo has had a more recent fight in his career than Errol Spence Jr. That's not good. That's not good from my perspective, because Errol Spence, he's been, forget just the beating that he took, but we just wanted to see what you had at 154 at a baseline. And you, because you said you weren't ready, you kept on waiting, and we've seen you at the gym, we've seen you training, absolutely, but that doesn't equate to fight experience since you've been gone. In the same way that a real fight would be. I would even take a bum fight. I'm talking about somebody that ain't even in the top 30. Just you getting in the ring and you feeling yourself out of what you got left at 154 in a debut fight. I would love that. And then you fight Tim Tszyu. But you fighting Tim Tszyu straight up, with you being so long out of the ring, you may think you can come back and still do it with a vengeance. I'm not saying you can't, but I'm also not confident that you can either. I'm not. So I'm concerned. I want to see it. It's the right matchup. We were saying that this fight should have happened. Tim Tszyu versus Spence was a fight that, both of them are trying to get back in the range of fighting, trying to get back in the win column. Both of them are coming off of bad losses at the point in time in which we were talking about it, when he got beat by Bakram and some Fundora. So we were like, yeah, make it happen. That's a good fight to come back to. But that was with at least less than 2 years, or right at 2 years of inactivity. Now it's going on 3. I think it's past 3, actually. Yeah, I need to see you back. Even Keith Thurman had a comeback fight before he went and fought Sebastian Fundora against a brother who wasn't as good. That's all we want to see. That's all we wanted to see. That's it. But we haven't seen it. And credit to Thurman. Or credit to Thurman for coming back, but credit to Spence. He doesn't do tune-ups. He doesn't duck. He takes on the smoke. He'll fight. We don't do tune-ups around here. I'm going to get in the ring and I'm going to show you how good I am. No problem. But the risk, especially at this stage in your career, is a lot more fervent than you may expect. So I'm a little bit concerned. Just a tad bit concerned. I'm not going to lie. Let's see, if Spence and Thurman both win, will they finally fight each other 7 years too late? Oh, gosh, I hope so. I hope so. In fact, that would actually make all the sense in the world. That would make so much sense because Spence was supposed to fight Sebastian Fundora. Then that fight got canceled. Then Thurman took his place. If Spence beats Sue, Thurman beats Fundora, who wouldn't want to see a fight in May or July for the title at 154 between two of some of the best at 147 that both have had redemption arcs? But you have that in Texas? Yeah, that's selling out. Do you know how many people would come out and fight or in support Spence? You know how many people would come out and fight on the card for Spence because they love Spence? Spence got a huge following, a loyal fan base that will go with them to no end. Imagine that fight down in Dallas, Texas. Imagine that fight. And with the way that Thurman can talk, with the way that Keith Thurman can sell a fight, oh my gosh. You better believe that will turn into one of the most anticipated fights of the year. That's a volatile concoction of anticipation that the public loves to see. I would love to see that. Every single one of your favorite YouTubers and pundits, they would even be talking about it on the inside the ring. It wouldn't matter. ESPN might even go back into saying, hey, we need to talk about this fight. And they barely cover boxing now. They barely covered it when it was on their own station. That's the truth. And they might, but for Spence, you better believe, they come back. And I dare say that would even bring up rumors of, oh my gosh, Spence is coming back. Spence got a belt. And if he does beat Thurman and looks good doing it, wait a minute. Drawing up old stuff about Spence fighting against Terrence Crawford, that wasn't the best Spence. Now come back and fight the real Spence and all this stuff. Lo and behold, that could bring him out of retirement. Who knows? There's a whole bunch of stuff that can happen with that fight if it did take place. A whole bunch of stuff on the perspective island of options of what a Spence win and a Spence title could do for the sport as a whole. Oh gosh, that'd be incredible. But I'd love to see it. You gotta get past Sue first. But if it did take place, it might be 7 years too late. But boy, people would still want to see it. People would still want to see it. I guarantee you. I promise you that, absolutely. I'm very excited for this fight. I got Spence winning. Can't wait to see what he has left in the tank. I can't either. I'm telling you, man, if he comes back, and if he's even 75% of the caliber of fighter that he was at 154 at welterweight, I'd be happy. That's enough to beat that's enough to beat Tim Sue, and two, that can bring him closer to being 100% fully back into his own style. And potentially at 154, he's even more destructive, more powerful, more filled out, as well as even more damaging. And I love to see it. Hopefully, I hope. I'm excited, man. I do want to see him come back with a vengeance because it was insane to see. Let me see. He is complete Bam, the best talent. Oh, this is involving Bam Rodriguez in the conversation with Bam. Is he the best talent outright in the world of boxing? And we did say we were going to come back to that. In my opinion, and again, mind you, a grain of salt, because you may disagree. In my opinion, the best well-rounded talent is Naoya Inoue. Now, for some people, that may seem like, how can you say that when you just saw Shakur do what he did? You got Usyk doing what he's doing right now at heavyweight, especially at an older age. And Bam Rodriguez has just had his fight against the best, 118-pounder in the world. And he made it look easy and knocked him out with a smile on his face. How can you say that Inoue is the best? And one of the biggest criticisms about that, he gets hit too much. Oh my gosh, he gets hit too much. That's what I hear all the time, even from the likes of other people around the boxing sphere. He gets hit too much. And I would love to take a detour just a little bit, talk about that ideology. Inoue getting hit too much is being used as a detraction against him for why he should not be seen as one of the best in the land when it comes to a pure boxer, though he's got the accolades and all that stuff. And I say that is very frustrating. More than anything, it's just straight up wrong. Now, here's why. Weren't we just saying that Shakur Stevenson was born? We just had a whole diatribe. Everybody in chat, Shakur's born. Shakur can't fight. Shakur, we don't want to buy that. We don't want to see that and all that stuff. If you think Shakur's born, Devin Haney's born. Fighters of that like are born, but they don't get hit. They're the most skilled out there. Oh my gosh. But anyway, he can't be in that same conversation because he gets hit too much. Oh, he takes too many risks. He does too much he's been down twice. Oh my gosh, how can he be the best talent in the world? You have to understand. With boxing, just because you don't get hit does not mean that you're ultimately, oh yeah, you're the best boxer in the world. Just because you take a lot of risk also doesn't mean the same thing. But it shouldn't be that taking risk dissuades you from that conversation. Here's the thing. The reason why we look at Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns, Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Robinson, James Toney, Roy Jones Jr., Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, Joe Louis, Max Schmeling even. We're gonna go way, way back. Floyd Patterson, Sonny Liston. These greats. Henry Armstrong. How could I forget Henry Armstrong? Sam Langford, my gosh. We can go down the list. These fighters were great. Not just because, they could turn it on and be defensive and they couldn't get touched. But it's because the fact that they were successful and willing to take risk was an addendum to their skill level. Raymond Murray versus Andy Cruz. We just had a discussion about him. That's such a great, sweet science example. Because both of them were actively working and moving to go, and we're going to be aggressive within these exchanges and still be slick. And I say that's incredible boxing. Absolutely. Just like what we saw with Marvin Hagler. But had an iron chin. I don't think he ever got knocked down in his career. 60-3. Arguably shouldn't have lost any of those fights that he lost, especially the one with Sugar Ray Leonard. I thought he beat Sugar Ray Leonard, in my opinion. But even still, I digress. He would fight and still be so technically proficient. Yet still, he would get caught. But because he was operating in the risk at such a high level and never waning, and also showing the other aspects of the dominance of his offensive array, it's what helped made him be one of the best in the world. Sugar Ray Leonard, speed, up-bounding, and could box on the outside. At the same time, you would see him take those chances so elegantly, while also with such a menacing scowl and an intent to kill. Like he could blend it both. Henry Armstrong was adept at working at the shoulder, making it so that he was right in your chest, switching head slots, and with the relentless body work and hand speed and power. One of the greatest Native American boxers we've ever seen. And just one of the 10 best in history, period. Regardless of ethnicity and race, he's that good. He was that great. But he took chances. Getting hit does not mean that you are not a great technical boxer. Being able to fight in such a high octane way without getting touched nearly as much. That's what made Mike Tyson so incredible. Because in his heyday, from 90s, in 80, when he started his career, 85, from 85 to 89. You could argue mid-90s as well, untouchable. And he was working to walk you down, but still being able to go, and in the midst of all of that aggression, be so technically refined. Arguably one of the greatest technical professions in boxing was Mike Tyson in that peekaboo style. I don't say that in hyperbole. I say that legitimately. He mastered that one style in a way that nobody else was even able to replicate. And my gosh, if Custom Auto had not died, or if he had been able to get his own life together behind the scenes, and if Don King had never touched a hand on him in his career, who knows what his career would have looked like from that point on? Who knows? But again, that's hyperbole. That's a hypothetical. The real reality. Operating in risk is what helps make you even greater. Not just being able to fight and mitigate all risk. And for Inoue to be that much of a clear cut, head and shoulders above everybody else, with the amount of times he is in position to get caught, to get hit, similar to Roy Jones Jr. Yet he still is able to be so responsible in every regard and make himself still nigh untouchable and still able to do whatever damage he wants to do and fight in so many multiplicities of styles. You can't hold that against him because you saw him get knocked down twice. Because if anybody else took as many risks as he did, they would have been knocked out a long time ago. Even amongst the best in the land. In this world of boxing. And we know this for a fact. This isn't me. This ain't blowing smoke. This is what makes Inoue so much different. This is what makes Bam so different. They can operate in the risk in such a dominant way that if others tried, they would fail. Even amongst the best of the best. That's what helps to separate them in that regard. Just as much as those like Shakur, who they're separate because they make it so that you can't. They make it so that they don't have to take risk because of how much they're able to control what you do in the game of the sport as a whole. Both are extremes, but both are equally insane boxing ability. Pure in its form, though different in its execution. So don't hold it against Inoue just because he gets caught. When he fights in the way that he's, of course, he's at risk of getting caught, but nobody else could do what he's doing. Because if they did, they would have been knocked out. He's able to be so sound defensively still, but he wants to take chances. Why? Because he wants to show everything about his game. It's incredible. And you shouldn't hold that against him, at least in my opinion. But again, just had to take a quick detour just to address that real quick because I seen that over social media. Just wanted to say that for myself. But let me go on and get back to the conversation at hand. Spence, I'm worried. No fight since 3 years. Yeah, I'm scared too, and I hope it's not going to be anything bad. He takes Sue. He is not. Tank David. See. Throwing shots. I knew it. I knew it was coming. And I knew it was coming. But this is also why we love Errol Spence Jr. Because of the fact that he doesn't run away from the smoke of competition. He, in all reality, has still carved out a legacy that is untouchable for most. He's one of the greatest welterweights we've seen. One of the greatest fighters of the last era of boxing. And his heart and his ability is unquestioned. But when it comes to, and again, we're not trying to make this a Tank episode. I know it can easily go down that road, but we have to be real about this. When we say we got to be real about this because Tank Davis is still a fixture in the minds of everybody. There is coming a time, in fact, it's here. The very thing I said about what was going on with Tank Davis, it's still here. His name is brought up consistently. His competition against other boxers is always going to be seen as, oh, can you beat him? We want to see that fight with Tank, but it has changed in the dynamics of how people talk about that fight or talk about him in these fights. He is no longer the man to beat. He now has to beat the other man. The difference in hierarchy in perception has shifted. Tank is now here, and everybody else is up here. And it used to be, it was Tank that was the man to beat. And Shakur, Abdullah Mason, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, Lomachenko, all of them had to get up to the same branching path. Can you beat this guy? Now it's flipped. Can Tank beat them? He gets brought up, sure, because he's a huge name. But it's no longer the same concrete rhetoric. Oh, you can't take him out. Oh, you ain't got nothing to do with him. Oh, this, that, and the third. It's no longer that. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Because what I said was going to happen with Tank is happening with Tank right now. In some ways quicker than I expected. In some ways slower than I expected. The sport has passed Tank by. I told y'all it was going to happen. I told you all it was going to happen. This sport has passed Tank by. Even the lawsuits and the court hearings, people don't care about it anymore. The clothes, the Purple Hearts, the cornrows, the tattoos, the fashion and style, people don't care about that no more. The aura surrounding Tank, he's a cold brother, people don't care about that no more. The highlights, people don't care about that no more. People don't care about Tank Davis. Not nearly in the same way that they used to. And you know why? Because he passed them by. All of a sudden, this sport revolved around Tank, and then Tank was forced, literally, to on the run because of his own actions. And the second he left, it was a whole lot of fervor of y'all still ain't better than him. Y'all still ain't this, that, and the third. Y'all still ain't X, Y, Z. And mind you, in fact, let me look this up myself to make sure I got this right. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm about to bring something up. I'm about to bring something up right now. Watch. I want you to listen to this stat. It's not even a stat. Just listen to this point in time. Tank fought in 2024 against Frank Martin, and he fought in 2025 against Lamar Roach. Correct? Now, that was on the 3rd. We are coming up on a year since the last fight with Tank Davis. Mind you, the 1st of March. So less than, 10 days away? Is it? Yeah, less than 10 days away. Not counting today. He hasn't fought since March last year. We're about to be a year off of him fighting. Since that fight with Lamar Roach. He was announced to fight Jake Paul roughly in May. About in May was when that announcement, I'm going to fight Jake Paul. Before I got annexed and all that stuff, and domestic violence dispute and whatnot. Since May of last year, we have not, forget hearing hide nor hair of Tank Davis. We have seen the entire public opinion and the entire perception of Tank's own skill not just deteriorate, but flip to the point that you are no longer the end-all be-all in such a violent way that it is almost obsolete that people are bringing up Tank outside of, get Tank's fan base talking, but nothing else. We don't care because he's not going to fight. So, Keyshawn Davis is took in that spotlight. Shakur Stevenson is now in the spotlight Tank used to be. We have so many fighters at 135 and 140 right now that people don't know what to do with it. We got, all of a sudden, Tank Davis has been an afterthought in most people's minds. And the sport as a whole has felt so much like a breath of fresh air that people are saying, I don't care if he comes back. That's not me just saying. That's me. That's people. That's people. That's the public. Go look up Tank right now on social media. Go look up Tank right now in the world of Twitter, Instagram. I don't care where you are. Look him up. Look him up for yourself and you'll see exactly the rhetoric. Even his own fans, the pundits, peers, pages, gone. Or straight up not nearly as violent or getting as many views, getting as many clicks, or straight up seen as worth the time. Why? Because Tank doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Not in the same way. Not in the same way. Let me see. Burr, okay, what you might be tripping. You saying Keyshawn that Tank. Well, no. Let me phrase it. When I said Keyshawn is in that spotlight, I'm not saying he's bigger than Tank. But I'm saying that without Tank there, Keyshawn has become one of the most talked about names within the span of a month. To the point that in the same breath of he can be a threat for Tank, that was the conversation. Now it's, hey buddy, this cat can run through potentially 140 and and we would love to see him fight Shakur. But he won't fight Shakur. So he can probably be a great fighter and dominate at 140 and now move up to 147 and fight Devin Haney. He's getting talked about. Yeah, not to the same appeal. Yes, he's not bigger than Tank. But without Tank there, You're seeing shine on Keyshawn Davis that was to some degree blocked because Tank existed while Tank wasn't doing anything. A lot of Keyshawn Davis's rhetoric and ability was downplayed for a number of years, strictly because it was always being compared to Gervonta Davis. Everything about the power, the IQ, the ability, the entertainment value, everything got docile or got dulled down, turned into a more docile sentiment because it was always compared with, well, he can't beat Tank. Don't matter because he can't do nothing to Tank Davis. That was it's just like when we see players today compared to the likes of Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, whether it's LeBron or KD or otherwise, and everything that they are for a number of years was diluted. Kobe's career, perfect example. It was diluted, even with the greatness that it was diluted to some degree because people kept saying, he's great, but he's not Kobe. And just by that statement alone, it brought down the perception of what Kobe's status was. Mind, this is when Kobe was winning MVPs. This is when he was a 4-time, 5-time champion. Because of that abject comparison, it was done in a way that was bringing down the nature of impressiveness and all-around awe and wonder that we were actually seeing in front of our eyes. It's part of the reason why we hate old heads. We don't like old heads in the sport of the NBA because they do that with everybody, and it hurts to some degree. Again, this is not me saying that Keyshawn is at the same level as Tank Davis. Be clear. We understand even to this day, though he is done in a sense of we don't know when he's coming back, we don't know what's going down. People still look at him and say, we still want to see him. That's never going to change. What has changed is Tank is the sun that the world revolves around. That's what's changed. Also, we got more people in chat. I'm sorry. Fight Edits, what's going on with you? How you doing? You from Turkey? Hello from the U.S. From here in the down south of the Carolinas. Thank you for tuning in. We're so happy that you're here. We appreciate you taking time out to support. I'm not trying to overlook anybody's chats. Absolutely. I'm reading through. I'm just trying to make sure I get the point across. But thank you so much for tuning in, and we appreciate you joining in on the fun. We want to hear your conversations. Hopefully, you're enjoying all of the show. Whether you agree or disagree, we would love to hear your thoughts on everything involving the world of this sport. And let me see, Al Booker, you're saying, yeah, I'm wild. And again, if you don't agree, that's fine. If you don't agree, that's probably fine. This is not me saying that Tank is not still a polarizing figure. This is me saying that people feel that the sport without him was going to be, there's nothing else. And that was the rhetoric. Without Tank, a lot of people were saying, I don't care. And all of a sudden, without Tank, people are still here. You're getting excited about stuff. We just had Shakur sell out Madison Square Garden when people said that he couldn't sell. We just had Abdullah Mason become a fixture in the minds of a bunch of people at 135 from a prospect and now a full-blown champion. We've gotten rivalries, anticipation, dream matchups, and a newness of life between the divisions of 135 and 140, 147. Where everything was essentially, it was all revolving around, can we get a fight with Tank? Now it's, can we get the fights with each other? And that change in mindset for fans, as well as for a lot of fighters, for some fighters, got everybody to kind of see, oh my gosh, okay, this sport is actually improving. And life without Tank Davis is not nearly as empty as we thought it would be without one of the biggest stars in the world. It's the truth. Thankfully. Even with, we can do it in the heavyweight division. Tyson Fury is still one of the biggest out there. When Tyson Fury kept retiring, unretiring, all that stuff, people at one point in time couldn't imagine a division without Tyson Fury there. All of a sudden, he retired after the fight with Usyk, and it was like, oh, okay. It's doable. It's manageable. It's not the end of the world as it used to be, with the idea that this one fixture wouldn't be here anymore. And so, from my perspective, that's what I'm saying about Tank Davis. It's not about the people are just outright bigger than him. but they're getting the shine that all of a sudden they weren't getting before. And people that thought that the division wouldn't be, or divisions would be hapless without Tank as that fixture of foundation, all of a sudden are getting invested in Keyshawn Davis, invested in Abdullah Mason, invested in Shakur Stevenson, even some people coming around to him, invested in the other bigger names and even lesser names in the divisions. And without Tank there as the almost indomitable wall that casts a shadow over everybody else's skill set and or potential, everybody can see it more clearly. Everybody shines a little bit brighter, and the room all of a sudden feels a lot more full than what it felt like when it was this elephant that was clogging up all the space in Tank as the only end-all be-all. Without the sun, or rather without the idea of the sun revolving around the earth, but the earth revolving around the sun, the universe looked a whole lot bigger now when we weren't the center of it. Again, when as we know with science, when we found out that the earth does not revolve, or the sun doesn't revolve around us, we revolve around it. Changed the complexion of the entirety of how you view the universe as we know it. Leading to all of a sudden Milky Way galaxies. Universe is unknown. Universe is unknown. The edge of space actually being a thing that we didn't think was even possible. Stars and solar systems abounding. Asteroids and planets. Supernovas. Gas giants. Who knows what? All because we decentered ourselves as the end-all be-all. And when we did that, when the boxing world did that with Tank, the world looked all of a sudden a whole lot more open for the amount of fighters, talent, and entertainment that is actually out there. People started appreciating, in a way, a little bit more. People started paying attention to Ben Rodriguez a little bit more across the divisions. Though it may not have been a huge change, but it was a change nonetheless. They got people talking. And so, that's why I'm saying when I say Tank doesn't matter, it doesn't matter in the same way that it used to. And that lack of shadow has allowed the rest of the boxing world to shine brighter. Thankfully, it's at the right time when everybody's actually starting to fight people. Turkey Al Sheik making fights with each other, or making fights for people that are actually worthwhile and worth our time. Undisputed championships, so many that we haven't had in over a decade. The consistency of top-tier talent at this point in time, fighting against each other in a way that we didn't think was possible upwards of a decade ago, with this level of consistency, it's a better day. We still want Tank to be in this day, but without him there, all of a sudden people can appreciate the greater scope. At least in my vantage point. They can appreciate it in a way that they weren't able to before. That's what I'm saying when I say Tank is not at that same threshold, and others have taken the spotlight. That's what I mean. Hopefully that explains it. If you still think I'm wrong, like, understand. But just to help clarify the sentiment, nonetheless, that's how I feel in my regards. Let me see. Is Tank the biggest disappointment in boxing? As of right now, yes, strictly because Tank was seen as a top 5 to top 3 talent in the globe. But when we wanted to see him against those other talents, he didn't fight them. In terms of the elite of the elite, the names that we were all begging to see him fight against. And that is like, we would have loved to see the big four against Tank all get in the ring and see who's really the best out there. Because he can put on some phenomenal performances. And he always says, ain't nobody pushed me. Ain't that what Calvin Ford said? Nobody pushed Tank to show the best that he can be. And we want to see who can do that. And we saw it, ironically enough, with Lamar Roach. And now that kind of brought down to earth. Oh, wait a minute. This might be more competitive for a lot of these other big-time names that we thought, okay, Tank is at the same level as him, but he can beat him. But we never got those fights. That's where the disappointment comes into play, and it's a shame because we want to see it. If Tank did what two different young ladies claim that he did, he's a disgrace to the sport. And it's like I said, we've covered the issues. If this alleged stuff is indeed true, yeah, it is horrible. He should be in jail, and it's problematic that it's problematic that this consistently pops up. Mind you, I'm not trying to get into the outside of boxing. We try to keep the other stuff, but this is something that we've said before. It's too big to ignore. Tank, because of his own actions, has put himself in this type of dilemma of crossroads in career and in life as a whole. We want him to be better as a man and as a person. We don't want him to go through this, especially if it's something that he did of his own. It's different if it's like, we've seen situations where there's been fake allegations. I'm not saying that's happening in this instance. Be clear. I'm not saying that's happening in this instance at all. I'm saying we've seen that happen before. And those are different circumstances. Absolutely. With the facts still being found out for this current landscape right now. Which, again, please do research for yourself to find all the details of this case. No question about that. But this all is very much damaging to the career and life of Tank, that we, beyond just boxing, we just want this brother to be all right. Live a life and do what you said you wanted to do. Retire. Go off into the ether and never be seen again. That's what you said you wanted to do. Get your money. Get out of here. Live your family. Get the mental health that you said that you wanted to do. Get counseling. Get therapy like you said you wanted to do. And then go and live a happy life. That's what we want. But it's a shame that we had to deal with this, because this is the type of, sadly, the identity that just continues to fester and linger. And it seems like this is what, the fourth or fifth time he's had this type of allegations. In this instance, they got evidence in video per the police in the county that were looking for him. So I'm like, man, this isn't anything new. We've seen this with other people and other fighters and celebrities and boxers, but it's a shame when it happens, especially when we know he can get us. He's got people that don't want him into this stuff, but he keeps making these same mistakes. And we can be hard on him from inside the ring, but outside the ring, we're like, man, we just want it to be good. And we hate that this is the type of thing that continues to pop up. And it's a shame. It really, as a life situation, it's just horrible. It's genuine. It's just horrible. And I hate it. I do hate it. I do hate it. And my gosh, man, it's demoralizing all around. It straight up, it's just demoralizing all around. But we still want to hear from you. We got about 5 minutes left on the well, we're about at what are we? 2 hours, 46 minutes. I can't remember when we started I think we started championship rounds like 150. Yeah, hour 50. So we got about 4 minutes left in the show. From the standpoint of an extra hour for the championship round, we want to hear from you. If you got anything else you want to say in the world of boxing and beyond, hey, we still want to hear your thoughts and opinions on anything involving the world of whether it's the second half of the NBA season with Kyrie Irving sitting out, with essentially Mavericks just throwing in the towel for this season, and it's gonna be Nico Harris, but you might be out of the league, but you still ain't safe down in Dallas. Kevin Durant, his burner account, if y'all want to discuss that as well, and a whole host of other things, if you so choose. We want to hear you in the chat down below. We want to hear your thoughts and opinions on anything else involving the world of boxing, topics that we didn't get to cover, conversations that you want to have, debates or questions that you would love to hear from me. We want to hear from you all, absolutely. On the day, let me see what happened to Kyrie Irving. Oh, so Kyrie Irving is getting season-ending surgery. Yes, he did. Remember, I believe he tore his ACL earlier in the season, or rather, I believe he tore his ACL earlier in the season and was benched. Then we had Anthony Davis get injured and was also benched. Collectively, they played like one game together, 2 games together, and then he was done. And now Kyrie Irving is not going to be able to return this season. It's getting season-ending surgery. And so essentially the Mavericks are throwing the towel in on this season almost assuredly. Yeah, they got Cooper Flagg as their trainer. Yeah, they got Cooper Flagg as their guy, as the future. But what was supposed to be a defensive-minded unit now is potentially, especially with Anthony Davis now on the Wizards and with Kyrie Irving sat down, most likely they might be looking at trading Derek Lively. Then I think they already got rid of Daniel Gafford, if I'm not mistaken. If not, if they did keep him, they're probably gonna let him go. But it's bad runnings right now for Dallas, and they are they in full blown reset mode at this point in time, and it's a shame because it goes from bad to worse with this organization. It goes from bad to worse, man. I'm telling you. Oh, also, and he was also mentioned in the reported burner accounts of Kevin Durant. And if you didn't know that news, hey, this is some breaking news, y'all. Kevin Durant just got exposed. But he got exposed in a bad way because he had a burner account. He's had some more in the past, but this one he was using to talk about his own teammates in terms of Shepard, in terms of Alperen Sengun, and in terms of people like Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, and Steve Kerr, and indictments on a bunch of different people around the league. Burning bridges now is what's going on with Kyrie Irving, and this brother is what's going on against Kyrie Irving and others from the burner account of Kevin Durant. This brother was essentially saying, hey, they were competing with me, but that light-skinned brother and that quote-unquote, or rather, Kyrie Irving wasn't necessarily competing with me on the floor, but the light-skinned brother and the, quote, cocaine bear that was, or what was it? Who was it? Was it Cocaine Bear? Cocaine Lion? I think called him a Cocaine Lion, was competing with him in reference to Russell Westbrook being the Cocaine Lion and the light-skinned brother being Stephen Curry as the folks that were actually competing with Kevin Durant on the floor. Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant said, was never actually competing with him. Also called some slurs to the likes of stinking, I believe it was Shepard on his current Houston Rockets team, went at Alperen Sengun saying that your best star player or your face of the franchise can't defend and can't shoot at all. And y'all want me to pass in the ball? I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. It wasn't Shepard. It was Jabari. What was his name? Was I believe Jabari Smith. That's the one thing. Not Shepard. Jabari Smith was the brother that that Kevin Durant had called a very very damaging slur in regards to his mental acuity when it comes to on the basketball floor. I can't trust his brother. This is who you want me to pass to. He can't do nothing with nothing. And so there's been a lot, I mean a lot, of burned bridges saying that Steve Kerr don't like black folks, don't like dark skins ever since Michael Jordan punched him in the face back in '98. It's crazy. It's wild. It's wild. It's talking about Steve Kerr. He hasn't been able to call up or draw up a single actual play, yet he's got 3 championships under his belt, and people call him a great coach. He wasn't when I was with him. And so burning a whole bunch of bridges with an alleged burner account that he was using to conversate with average fans around the league about other players. Talked about how he missed James Harden. Called James Harden delusional, but a good dude at heart, genuinely. It's a whole bunch of stuff, man. And so now, that happened right before the All-Star game. Mind you, that happened the day before the All-Star game. Understand. No, I'm sorry. I think that happened the day of the All-Star game. He was doing essentially damage. Looked like he was doing damage control on his phone, walking out the tunnel. Oh, it's bad. It's really bad. And so, like, it's I'm telling you, the NBA never ceases to have some drama. And we still got a second half push in the season. Houston Rockets still got a chance to be in a good position for a championship opportunity. And we're going to see how that chemistry grows from this point on. If he leaves Houston, brother, I would love to see how exactly he's going to be able to gel with anybody else around the league because people can't really trust him to be a teammate. Mind you, he's saying this stuff about Alperen Sengun, about Jabari Smith as teammates. currently with them today, not injured, playing on the court. They just had a practice a couple days ago. It's bad. It's really bad. My gosh. So it's hilarious, man. Let me see the Coke line. Yeah, no, the Coke line thing was fun. That was crazy. That was wild. That was wild that he said that. But I'm telling you this, I can't wait to see Kevin Durant and Westbrook go against each other again, especially now. Because I know Westbrook heard that. I know we saw that. And I know for a fact, when they play against each other, oh boy, I wouldn't be surprised if we stood up on them. We squared up with them. Tried to dunk on them, straight up. Talk smack, left, right, and center. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't sit down the entire game. Just to prove a point. You're right, I am a cocaine bear. And guess what? I'm putting more effort than you ever can. And I'm going to dog you out. That's what boy, I'm telling you, this second half of the season is going to be a doozy. And I can't wait to witness it with you all. No question about it. But we can talk about it more on Friday afternoon. Last call for anybody wanting to talk about the World of Championship rounds. We want to hear from you. Anything involving the world of boxing and beyond. You got 30 seconds. What you want to say. What you want to feel. How you want to talk, and we're gonna last chats, and then we're gonna go through and end this show out before the 3-hour mark. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Westbrook smacked him. Hey, look, when they initially broke up, they had some beef with each other. Westbrook, he's not one. I'm not saying he holds grudges, but he remembers. He's always gone hard when going up against Kevin Durant. Might just rekindle a newfound fervor and fire under the loins and under the wings of Westbrook in his stint against Kevin Durant. And I guarantee you, I think they play later on this year. Woo, buddy, watch out. That's going to be a must-see game. I believe he plays on what? I believe he plays on the Kings at this point in time. Let me make sure I got that right. I know he's been passed around the league of recent. But yeah, he's playing on the Kings. They just shut down. I think it was was it Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan that they shut down on the Sacramento Kings because they were getting another season-ending surgery. Mind you, they're one of the bottom of the conference. They ain't had no shot anyway. But even still, he gonna give it his all. He gonna give it his all, and I can't wait to see it. My gosh, it's gonna be. It's going to be fun. It's going to be so entertaining. I can't wait to witness it. But boy, if he smacks him, don't be surprised. We've already had about 3 fights in the season. Could make it a 4th with that matchup. And I hope we see it. Boy, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. But with all that being said, we got to get out of here. We got to go and end this show off. Thank you all who tuned in and listened. We loved all the support and we loved all of the rhetoric. It was a phenomenal interactive show with a whole bunch of quality conversation. But we got to get out of here and we got to go through and let you all enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And I got to get ready for Friday. So with all of that being said, this has been another episode of The Watchable with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to our show on today. It's been a phenomenal time. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did. Hopefully you loved this show. Please leave a like on the stream before you get out of here. It means the world to us. It helps us to push the show out to the algorithm to help us to make this show bigger, better, and stronger, and let more people see exactly what we got going on. If you would like to support the channel, and hopefully you can, we got Cash App and PayPal links down below in the description. We can't do this without viewers like you. Also, super chats, super gifts, stickers, and the like. If you can support the channel with any amount, it would mean the world to me. Absolutely. Also, be sure to rate us 5 stars on every podcasting platform imaginable. Thank you to everybody who tuned into our show. Y'all were incredible. Y'all were phenomenal. Y'all, take a bow. Y'all did a phenomenal job when it came to being able to make this show oh so interactive and oh so spectacular. Thank you to everybody who subscribed to the channel, and please keep on subscribing. Keep on telling people about the show. Keep on sharing the show. And please, once again, like the stream, listen to the podcast, and please be sure, if you can, give and support the channel. It would mean the world to me. Absolutely. Also, top 5 chatters on this show, the pound for pound for this show as we get ready to end it off. Number 5 was Henry Bostic. Number 4 was We Game All Night. Number 3 was I Need a Burr. Number 2 was I Just Want the Truth. And number 1 for our number 1 pound for pound chatter on the show was Trey Bacon. Congratulations to you. Per the YouTube rankings, you were the best chatter on our show. Can you keep that same number 1 rank on tomorrow? We're gonna find out. Be here for that to defend your title. But with all that being said, I've been Jean-Luc Welch. You all have been absolutely wonderful. Peace and love. Are we right here? Yes, sir. We are going to see you all on Friday. Same time, same place, same exact channel. Be safe. Be blessed. Peace and love. Salute to you. And we out of here.